dive into it.
Yeah, I'll share it throughout the show.
All right, we're live. It's we had some technical difficulties clearly, but you know it's show 6, so what are you gonna do, right? We're learning as we go.
Yeah, I mean,
I just love that the link we shared to everyone is now going to be a dead link. So if you somehow found the stream, congratulations, you found the right link. Where's Waldo?
Man, there's just so much going on this morning or this afternoon, whatever you want to call it. So I'm honestly just glad we're able to get it up. There's just so much going on. We'll be sharing it periodically. So if you see me like looking at my phone or am looking at his phone or looking at the computer, we're trying to get this out to everybody because it's been kind of a nightmare. But welcome back to the AJ Show, Episode 6.
Yes.
I'm JkBogen. He is Adam Grego. And we got a ton to talk about, like a ton. Like,
we do.
I know the Super Bowl happened, and that that's great. And we're gonna talk about that first and foremost. But there is so much to talk about. I mean, there's this now. So right when we think, okay, well, Watson and Wentz. Now we go ahead and add another quarterback potentially to the the fray of being traded, potentially. Not guaranteed, but I'm really interested to see what happens with Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
So things just kind of escalated. J.J. Watt got released. Yeah. We thought he'd be traded. He gets released, and it's going to be thrilling. I'm excited for the show.
Yeah, me too, man. Just sharing the real live link on my Twitter. But, yeah, dude, it's crazy, the Russell Wilson drama all of a sudden. I feel like that kind of came out of left field. Is that just me? I mean, I know they've always had, like, a weird kind of relationship, but...
I mean, for the most part, the relationship is, all right, Russ, you say go Hawks. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Go Hawks. Yeah. It's like, all right, just like... I feel like they've kept him down, like, where he doesn't really get a chance to say anything. That's just not, like, their... That's not their organization, And he finally comes out, and he's like, you know what? I don't want to get hit anymore. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of getting hit all the time. And now everyone, like, in the organization is like, oh, you can't say that. Like that.
Right.
And now they're all of a sudden, this relationship that we thought was going really well has soured.
I know. It's so weird.
This offseason is a toxic mess.
Well, I also think Tom Brady kind of showed people, like, you can run this league. Especially quarterbacks, obviously.
Dude, the Watson thing did everything. Because, like we talked about last week, everyone's having those internal conversations.
Yeah, but did you see the latest? Like, the Texans GM, and, like, they keep saying, you're not going anywhere. He's our guy. Like, they're keeping him under lock and key.
That's messed up.
So it's going to be – you haven't seen those? Like
I have not.
Yeah, they've been making statements and stuff, and they're like, we know there's a lot of rumors out there. This was the most recent statement. They were like, we know there's a lot of rumors out there, but he's a Texan. He's in our plans. He's staying a Texan, which is nuts. So I'm excited to see, like, how that unfolds. Is Watson going to budge, or is he just going to be like, I'm literally not coming in?
I don't think it's going to go the way they think.
Who, the Texans?
I don't think they can say whatever they want. Personally, I don't think it's going to go the way they think, though.
Okay. And maybe they're just saying the right things, to sound good.
They could be. They very well could be. But I just think at the end of the day, they're like, well, we're going to play the tough guy, and that doesn't always work out.
Yeah.
Sometimes someone comes up with a Godfather offer, and you take the offer. And I think that, it's like you're not going to not trade him just to make a stand.
Right.
It's like he's not going to play.
Especially if he's unhappy. You don't want that in your franchise regardless.
Yeah.
But, all right, so let's break into the Super Bowl discussion. My dark horse, Buccaneers, man.
Yeah.
It's like the one thing I was right about in the offseason.
It's the one thing we agreed on.
And but I was calling for them, like, way back.
Oh, yeah.
Even at the beginning of the playoffs.
Yeah, I thought they'd lose to the Packers. And,
And, man, they went in there and they handled business, like, for real. It was impressive what they did. I mean, it really came down to the offensive line problems, obviously.
Absolutely.
And Patrick Mahomes just literally running for his life. I think the stat was he rushed or ran 500 yards just before throwing the football on scrambles alone, like in the backfield, just running around trying to evade guys.
When we were talking about that, just the dynamic and we knew he wasn't going to have much of an offensive line, but that was pitiful.
Yeah. I mean, but also we knew that, but like you have to assume like they're NFL players. They're not going to be that bad.
Dude,
it was bad.
Did you see? You know where I'm going with this, I think.
What?
There's a freeze frame where the right guard is blocking the right tackle.
I didn't see that. That's hilarious stuff.
I'm not even kidding you, folks.
That's
you
funny.
can pull it up yourself. The right guard, I don't remember his name, was blocking the right tackle. What on earth, man?
No, that's crazy, bro.
Like, what is happening? You're in the Super Bowl. Like, I felt for Mahomes. I really did. But I also feel like it kind of goes back to what I was saying. I felt like the Chiefs were overrated the whole time. And I felt like the Buccaneers were playing their best football. I think at the end of the year, you could argue the Buccaneers were the best team and could have beaten anybody.
Yeah.
But I think the Chiefs were overrated, and I think that they showed you really they're the Mahomes show. And honestly, I question if that's why guys like Kafka and Bieniemy aren't getting jobs. Because maybe other teams around the league thought this, and this confirmed it.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, he threw it a dime to Tyreek Hill, to Travis Kelce. And these guys, these stars, they're dropping these passes, and it's like, it's a Super Bowl. And Mahomes is trying to win his second ring. And, like, I mean, it's crazy. He was drafted in 2017, and he'd have 2 rings by now that he earned, not, like, sat the bench for.
Yeah.
He was, he was really trying, and he was not fully healthy. He's getting thrown around, every which way, getting chased like crazy. Yep. But you got to give credit where credit's due to the Buccaneers. I think they are the new gold standard of the NFL. And here's what I'll say by that. I actually don't have them in the Super Bowl next year. But my point of why I'm saying what I'm saying is that they did things differently. They, instead of having these guys, I'm never going to, crap on a guy for going out and getting paid. But all these guys bought in. You had JPP who stayed. You had Ndamukong Suh who stayed. You go out, you get Tom Brady. You go out, you get Wirfs, and you get Antoine Winfield. Guess what? That team last year went 7-9. 7-9 with Jameis Winston. I've said I'm pretty high on Jameis Winston. Like, I think they could have made the playoffs with Jameis Winston this year. I don't know if they would have won the Super Bowl, but I also think it's credit where credit's due with their coaching staff. Bruce Arians isn't even coaching right now. Like, he's made that very clear. Tom Brady's coaching more than he is. He's leaving it up. Dude, the offense, it's surprisingly, this guy is known for having an ego. He gave all his credit to Byron Leftwich. And
who, Bruce Arians?
Yeah.
He's not known for having an ego.
He'll be like, I did that. He's got to do better. He did that with Winston. But
he's honest, but he doesn't have an ego.
With Byron, though. And this is where I'm not an Arians fan, but I got to give him credit. He found Byron Leftwich when he played for the Steelers. He coached him.
Yep.
He found Bowles when he coached the Arizona Cardinals. Now he's bringing all these guys. Harold Goodwin, Antoine Randall-Hell, who he coached with the Steelers. He's bringing in all these guys, and he's created a collective unit of coaches that I think people are sleeping on. I think 100%.
Well, they were all very smart players. I know, because they were on the Steelers for a long time.
But I mean, like, Leftwich, to me, I've been saying it for the last 2 years. How has that guy not gotten an interview?
He's young, man. He's green.
He's deserving, man.
But he's young. You gotta give him some time to.
My point with the Arians thing, though, is that I felt like when Arians came out and said it's been all Leftwich on the offense.
Good.
I think that says a lot. And then Bowles. What can you say about Bowles' defense, man?
Oh my God. They just have a great defense, though. Like, dude, I mean, the way that and the linebackers, Devin White and Levante David, especially in the Super Bowl. My God.
And Vita Vea, dude.
They just all
showed up. Having a guy that can
move
that well in the trenches.
That's the difference with them and, like, a lot of the other teams. Like, their whole team just kept showing up every week. It was never like, I mean, Brady, I guess you could argue in the Green Bay game didn't show up, but I don't know. I mean, he still made the throws when he had to that needed to be made.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That whole team just, they kept playing together, and, man, it was crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I looked at it like, I just feel like we're not giving enough credit for the Buccaneers because it's not to throw a shade at Tom Brady because, obviously I think he's great.
He's the GOAT. So.
And I don't believe he's the GOAT, but I think he's number 2. I moved him up to number 2. We're getting there.
I don't care. You can have him wherever you want.
But I think my thing here is that we can't give Brady too much credit. And we can't take away from this team as a whole and
No,
what they've been building.
I don't think people are. I hope they aren't.
Well, I've seen some, and
Maybe some
what
are,
I'll say
but-
is that like I said, I think this is the gold standard. If you want to win a Super Bowl, get the band back together, and that's what they did. And Ndamukong Suh's been a mercenary since he left the Detroit Lions. Like he'll go and he'll play with the Dolphins, played with the Rams, he'll play with the Bucks.
Yeah.
But he stayed with the Bucks. Last year they went 7-9. I've said that. They were the 3rd ranked offense. So their offense was really good this year, but their offense was more efficient. I think the thing is it's very similar to last year.
Well, they converted touchdowns and turned the ball over less.
Yeah, that's really what it came down to. So Tom Brady took better care of the football.
Yeah.
The offense was still really good, just like last year. I think they ran the football better this year. But the thing that I look at is last year, man, they had 6 of those 7 wins, or sorry, 6 of those 9 wins, or not 9 losses. They came down to 1-possession games, 2 of which went to overtime. And I felt like this team last year, I couldn't help but think. I was like, dude, they lost that one game to the Giants when on the last play of the game when Daniel Jones ran in for a touchdown. And this is the reason why I was like, this team is ahead of schedule.
Well, they were a quarterback away. They got the quarterback.
And so, I just think it's a credit to having them all buy in, though. I think that we don't get – that's not said enough. There's teams that have been almost there and have blown it up. Yeah. And I feel like, credit where credit's due with the Buccaneers. They added pieces like Brady and Fournette and, we talk about the draft picks. But just the fact they were able to retain Sue and JPP, and I forgot him the first round, Shaq Barrett. Because Shaq Barrett is maybe the best edge defender, one of the best edge defenders in all of football. He's up there.
One of the best.
So I think, he wants to break the bank. So I don't know if they're going to keep him.
It. He earned it.
But I think it's incredible that they were able to keep those guys. And I think when you were building a foundation last year's success, this year it's better because you have a 3rd or 4th place schedule that you fight against. Yep. Now you have a better team, more continuity, 3rd or 4th place schedule. I just think all around, I was not surprised. But kind of going back to what I said last week, I don't see I think the Buccaneers can make it back. I think the Chiefs had a bad enough loss where they take a step back. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I do. Definitely. They got work to do, man. And I think people found out what their weakness is, which is just pass rush. Just rush the passer. And then they can't run the ball very well. Their line is just in shambles. They are going to get, obviously, players back on the line. But, yeah, they're going to be in the playoffs, obviously, as they should be. But they are not a lock for the Super Bowl by any stretch of the imagination. And I think, if I had to pick who would be back, it's definitely the Bucs. The Bucs are still going to be going into next year as the scariest team in the NFC, probably, behind, my early favorite, the Rams, because of Matthew Stafford. But outside of that, it's definitely the Bucs and then everybody else. And the Chiefs look very vulnerable right now. But, one great draft could also change that.
It's true. I've said it for a while, and I know people look at it as an excuse, but I can't help but think they kind of butchered the Mahomes thing with
In what way?
So
the contract?
No. The offensive line, I understand, got hurt. I'm talking about the weapons because I think we focus too much on star power. If I could have 2 stars and the rest are kind of quote unquote scrubs,
so you're saying they're not deep
room,
enough at the weapons?
I don't think they are.
Yeah,
I think they're overrated, to be honest with you. I think we put Sammy Watkins on this tier where, okay, what's Sammy Watkins done the last 3 years? You know what I mean?
Put him on any tier.
And then Demarcus Robinson. Well, he's 6'3". I don't care.
No, I don't care about him.
He averages 412 yards a season.
Their next best weapon is Mecole Hardman, but he can't really run great routes and he drops the ball.
I guess my thing here is, and I actually like the Clyde Edwards-Helaire pick, and I think he showed up in the Super Bowl. They didn't run the ball a lot, but I thought he played pretty well when they needed him to. But my thing is, looking at that, you go in, you bring in Bell. Maybe Bell wasn't the right option. Maybe you should have gone out and gotten a receiver. You know what I mean? What if they – so Kenny Stills became available at one point. What if they went out and got him or somebody like that? You know what I mean? I think that missing piece, I think, comes back to hurt Mahomes because if Hill's not catching the ball, Kelsey's not catching the ball, these guys aren't getting open.
Yeah, but he's also running for his life either way. Yeah. It was really an O-line problem.
But I also think they struggle to create separation after those two. And I think that's the thing. Whereas I feel like you look at, say, the receiver room of the Rams or the Steelers or the Bucs, and it's like, dude, Bucs, Steelers, Rams, they're all 4 deep.
You have to be 3 deep at receiver this day and age for sure.
And, I mean, unless you want to call Travis Kelce a receiver, wide receiver, I mean, they're literally 1 deep at wide receiver.
They're 1 deep at wide receiver.
So, I think that's the thing is I want to see them address that. And I also want to see them get better on defense because I told you they didn't improve.
Their trenches needs work. I think the Bucs proved that trenches is what matters, man. Build it out from the trenches. If you get eaten alive in the trenches, you're not going to win.
Well, Vita Vea is helping the stock of every up-and-coming nose tackle that can, basically anchor the nose, can have a little bit of a pass rush, but just be a gap filler. I think
he's more than a gap filler.
Well, no, I think he does everything.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 350 pounds, and I saw him chasing down Mahomes. I'm like...
He's in the same mold of, like, what the Javon Hargraves did. I mean, not in the same vein of...
He's what Danny Shelton was supposed to be.
Right, or an Aaron Donald, like... Those kind of guys continue to push the mold of what an interior defensive tackle is, and it's awesome. Like, I love agree. Tackles that can rush the passer like that. It's fun to watch. And just seeing them move, like 300-pound men should not move like that and create that much chaos. So it's awesome. It's really cool.
It really is.
So what do you want the Super Bowl 56 prediction?
So yeah, we'll discuss this.
I have no idea. Well, actually, I do know who you have. Right? Has it changed?
I think you do. Did I say it last week?
Yeah.
The LA Super Bowl. I mean, I just think when you look at the Rams, you can call me biased, but it's hard when they're one of the absolute best teams coming into the year.
They have to be.
I think the defense, there's a little bit of a question mark. How good will they be? Like, not like if they'll still be top 10, because I think they're 100% top 10, but are they number 1 in the league again with Raheem Morris, or are they going to fall a little bit? I think they fall a little bit.
Even if they fall a little bit, though.
But that's the thing is that I look at Matthew Stafford, and I look at 1 year he had a top 10 defense. They went to the playoffs. I look at another year when they went 9-7. 8 of those 9 games, he had to come from behind and win. They were at least by a score or even 2 scores. They had to come from behind and win in the fourth quarter. With Sean McVay style football, his whole
life
goal
is easy, bro.
Yeah, his whole goal is just to basically control the clock.
Yeah.
And I think now, trust me, this has been it with Jared Goff. I think McVay is going to add a whole other thing to Matthew. I think Matthew Stafford. He opens
the playbook.
Yeah, I honestly think they'll be a lot lower in time of possession this year because I think they're going to score quicker.
More. Yeah, that's fair, dude. I mean, it's a great I saw people on your timeline like saying that or trying to say that Stafford isn't an upgrade over Jared Goff, which is just so ridiculous to me. He's going to take them further than Goff. I mean, that would be a Super Bowl win, I guess, but further than Goff ever could realistically. Like, yes, he had the Super Bowl trip, but he wasn't like running that offense in any commanding kind of amazing way that year. So I just think that Stafford is going to give him the best shot at a Super Bowl they've had, hands down. He's great. He can make every throw. He can do things off script still. He has a strong enough arm to go deep. So I hope that the Rams get a deep threat too. So that he can throw some deep shots because you need to have that if you have Stafford on your team. Let him throw it deep.
That's the interesting thing. So I look at I think the Lions aren't given enough credit for their weapons. I'll say that right now. Going back and watching the film, I think Stafford deserves more credit because the weapons weren't creating a ton of separation, right? But they had surefire hands. When you look at somebody like Amendola, dude, Amendola did not get enough credit what he did last year. It's actually very impressive on film. I went back, watched all the games last year. Danny Amendola, man, I think he's a free agent. Like, he'd be a killer addition for like a Buccaneers or anybody
he's been in the NFL forever.
Because he has.
How old is he?
He's got to be 35.
I remember back when he was on the Rams and he
destroyed his elbow.
Yeah,
on TV, like and then they
didn't
pan away from it like they normally do. So it was like,
I remember that.
No, but I was so impressed because I'm like, bro, this is Danny. I watched Danny Amendola. Like, Sam Bradford was drafted in 2010 as the first overall pick. Stafford 2009, and you're sitting there and you're like,
that's so.
Bradford's not even in the league anymore. And Danny Amendola,
so
bro, he had been in the league for like 4 or 5 years before Bradford.
Yeah, so
I was
old.
like,
wow,
like, so Amendola, I'm just watching. He's just sets like up like right in the soft zone, finds a spot in the defense, just takes the ball, gets absolutely decked, gets right back up.
Right, he's like, that consistent guy.
He's a guy that doesn't. He's a lunch pail guy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, he comes to work, he gets his face beaten in, and he enjoys it.
But like, what do you think the Rams could do real quick for like a deep threat? Don't you think they need one?
Well, here's the thing: is that I want one. Like, I want a Marvin Jones, but the Rams actually don't need one, and here's why.
You don't want a speedy guy that can just take the top
They have
off?
one.
Who?
Van Jefferson. And the crazy thing is people don't realize because he didn't run at the 40. He didn't run the 40 time.
I look at him as more of a route running slot guy.
Well, that's the thing. Is so did I. And then I saw him at the Senior Bowl, and I mean he could take the top off. Jim Nagy, who is the head of the Senior Bowl, he dropped the Zebra scores. Zebra is like it measures your speed. He had a faster time than Duvernay, who ran a 4.3.
Duvernay was considered fast, yeah.
And Denzel Mims ran a 4.38.
Cool, man.
So I think this is somebody that go back and watch the Dallas game. You'll see. Goff didn't throw too many great deep balls, but that was one of the few good ones that he threw.
Like a great deep ball.
In 2018, I thought he had it down.
Okay.
He made some stellar throws, but then after that, it was just gone, and I don't know what happened. But you look at that game against Dallas on, I think it was Sunday night or Monday night or whatever, but he hits him. It's a perfect throw over the top, and like Van Jefferson really had a couple steps on the guy. Like he can stretch the field. I think the thing is, like a lot of fans that are saying the Rams need a deep threat, like Rams fans,
they want
are
that
looking at it in terms
dash guy who actually ran a 4.3.
Yeah, and like
you can just see it.
I think people are so caught up in the fact like none of the guys like Robert Woods ran a 4.5. That's good enough in the NFL to run deep down the field. I think it's the same exact time as Juju.
Yeah.
If I'm mistaken, let me know. But Juju can stretch the field.
He ran a 4.5 too.
So Juju can stretch the field. Cooper Kupp, he runs faster than his 40 time. He ran like a 4.65.
Right.
But like, I mean, the thing is, I feel like it's almost kind of an overrated thing. Like if a field stretcher to me, like it's a guy that's fast enough to break through the second level.
Right.
And go over the top.
I don't think it's overrated, but it's harder to find them than you think. Like, there's a difference between a 4.4 guy and a field stretcher. Because, like, Mike Wallace was a game changer. Martavis Bryant, game changer. Tyreek Hill, current game changer. Like, but there's also guys who ran 4.4s, but they can't change the game like that. And you'll see guys who ran 4.5, break more home run balls than them. So there's like a disparity there. But I think when you do find them, like the real ones, it does matter. It changes the game.
Yeah, I definitely think it matters. And I also think that they can be used as decoys, which also helps. I think Cooks was.
You have to respect it. You can't just ignore it and be
I just think like with Van, the thing I love about Van so much is that he's not just a guy that's fast. He's a guy that has great ball tracking skills. And to me, I think that's so underrated and necessary. I mean, we could talk about Will Fuller all we will, and how he can really stretch the field. He's really emerged since, DeAndre Hopkins left. But what was our biggest issue with Will Fuller?
He's still inconsistent,
He's a chest catcher. Yeah. He brings it into his chest. He doesn't, catch with it. He's not a natural hands catcher. That was my biggest issue with him. And you said he's inconsistent. He absolutely is. And I also think he's gotten better at tracking the ball, but early on in his career, man, I thought he struggled to do that. So, I just think when you have to look at it, if you want a guy that can be a deep threat, I think there's multiple avenues to that. A field stretcher and a deep threat, I think, are a little bit different. They're the same but different. Field stretcher, I think, is speed and ball tracking, whereas a deep threat can be speed, but it's also a guy that can go up and get the 50-50 ball, which to me, I don't know if a ton of Rams can do that. I think Kupp can do that. He's shown he can do that. He did that in the playoffs. But, I mean, aside from Kupp, I haven't seen Van do that. I've seen Van go and, stretch the field and then just take, right over the shoulder or whatever. Yeah. So I think that's the interesting thing there. But if they go deep threat, there's a bunch of guys in this draft, a guy like Jalen Darden out of North Texas that I think, you guys should be looking at if you want, a guy that can really stretch the field. You can use as a gadget guy as well, but just very explosive. Right. And there's not, in the draft, you get the Tariq Cohen, and it's okay, everyone, we've used explosiveness a lot, describing players, but Tariq Cohen just seems different. He's just another level of explosion. That's kind of the vibe I get out of Jalen Darden. He's one of those, kind of top tier explosive guys in the draft. May not go super high because he's North Texas, but he's a guy that I like. Amir Smith-Marset out of Iowa. Just a few. Tutu Atwell from Louisville. Right. So I think they could go in the draft, and then Marvin Jones, I think. Well, and Will Fuller, of course, is available, but he's going to command a lot of money.
Yeah. So, all right. So, what you have an All-LA Super Bowl, though?
Basically. I do.
Okay.
I think the Chargers need.
I think that's a huge leap. I keep saying that for the Chargers, but
the Chargers, though, let me just say this: the Chargers are ahead of the McVay Rams.
Wait, what?
So when McVay took over, the Rams were 4-12. The Chargers, Brandon Staley's taking over, and they're 7-9. They have arguably a better roster, and they definitely have a way better quarterback than what rookie Goff was in Justin Herbert.
Yeah, he's awesome.
So I think that, and I've said before, I don't even necessarily know if firing Anthony Lynn was necessarily fair, but I understood it because they won the last 4 games of the season. People forget that. So you could argue Anthony Lynn got the thing going, but I think that they were so done with the late game mistakes and all of that has just pretty much plagued this team, even into different coaching staffs in the past.
Okay.
So I think
you like them.
Yeah, I think that with 7-9, man, last year they had, I think it was 5 or 6 games that came down on the wire.
All right.
I mean, they're ready.
I'm gonna say way too early. Oh God. I'm gonna go Bucks. I just think they're so great, and they're all returning.
Love the Bucks.
They're all returning, pretty much.
Well,
they're going to lose a couple guys.
We'll see. I think Godwin is going to return. It sounds like they really want him. They want Shaq, but I think Shaq's going to go
He might
somewhere.
price himself out, but their D-line is still really good there. And then,
I actually think they replace Shaq with Bud Dupree.
Imagine.
Just doesn't end. Like, they'll just, rotate pass rushers.
And then for the AFC, who do I like in the AFC? The Chiefs just really turned me off, to be quite honest, after watching that game.
Dude, I'm telling you, man.
I'm going to say way too early, just for fun. I'm going to go Ravens right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, I know.
What makes you like the Ravens so much next year?
God. I like what they're building. And they're continuing to build what they're doing.
They had such a good 2020 draft.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Was stupid.
And I expect Patrick Queen to take a huge step, and I expect Dobbins to take a step. So it really just comes down to, can they finally get a really good number 1 wide receiver, which I don't know. I don't know if they can. And can Lamar Jackson develop as a passer, because I still don't think he's a very good pocket passer. But, yeah, I'll go Ravens right now. But that could all change after the draft and then seeing how their season unfolds. But then J.J. Watt got released, which is great news for me. I want the Steelers to sign him. And I think they realistically can, much more than a Bud Dupree.
I think they can too.
Because people are treating the situation like it's either or if you can't sign Bud Dupree, you definitely can't sign J.J. Watt, which doesn't make any sense to me because I think Bud Dupree is worth more money. He's younger. He's had a way better 2 last years. J.J. Watt, you could pay what? I mean, depending on the deal, $6 to $8 million per.
I was thinking $8 million 1 year, but if it's honestly, I think he signs a 1-year deal with any other team. I think with the Steelers, I think he might want to retire.
You think
with
he's
his
going
brother.
1 year?
No. If he goes with his brother, I think he'll want
the multi.
Yeah.
But I just think you can get. I mean, what do you think his value is? I think it's 6 to 8, maybe 9.
Well, I mean, I think you have to look at the fact, for instance, let's look in benchmarks. You have one of the best interior defense linemen in all of football in DeForest Buckner. He gets a ton of tackles for a loss.
But he's not interior.
He had 11, though.
J.J. Watt's not
No, I know.
interior.
This is my point.
Yeah.
Normally, the interior get more
and he also
tackles
only
for
had
a loss.
5 sacks, right?
Yeah.
This year. Yeah.
So, interior normally get more tackles for a loss. Guess what? He had 11. J.J. Watt had 14. That puts in perspective for me.
Yeah.
That he does a really nice job of setting the edge.
Yeah.
He, by the way, has of any edge defender, because Aaron Donald is considered interior. Aaron Donald was double-teamed 70% of his snaps. J.J. Watt was double-teamed 30% of his snaps. He led all edge defenders in double teams. So what that does is now it makes it easier on a guy like T.J. Watt, makes it easier on a guy like Hayward.
It doesn't, though.
No, it does, because you get those one-on-ones. If he's commanding double teams, because then people say they double-team T.J. Watt, then now J.J. Watt's getting these singles that we haven't seen before. It's the same thing. You put him on the Rams, and now it's like you can't double team Donald and Watt.
Right. I think he was double teamed a lot in Houston because who else are you going to double team on that line?
It's weird though. Even when they had Clowney, they were double teaming him.
Yeah, but he was also
merciless.
He had a great year with Clowney. Him and Clowney together were really good.
Yeah, I mean, I think
they still respected.
Bottom line is Watt's only going to consider a Super Bowl winning team, and he's going to consider obviously any team his brothers are on, which both his brothers are on the Steelers right now.
Right.
I think he considers the Packers.
Where do you think he
goes? The Bills. I think he's going to go to the Steelers or Packers.
I hope it's the Steelers.
I would love to see the Rams pick him up, but I just don't know. Like, I don't think it's a good look if they go and pick him up and they don't sign John Johnson.
And it's different scenarios. John Johnson's going to command like starting strong safety money.
But if it's like for this, like around the same level.
Oh well, that. And
keep in mind they're tied up. They have $8 million. The price
range is similar.
Could be. I think the Steelers are going to get a discount, if you ask me.
I think
he wants to really play with his brother.
I think it comes down to like what you said, Steelers, and then maybe the top two, like
the Packers going back to Wisconsin,
Super Bowl teams. Yeah. So like the Bucs, if they
I think the Bucs are an option.
I could see them making a push because, like we just said, Shaq Barrett is going to leave.
Yeah,
and he's going to cost more. So then, what's a good consolation? J.J. Watt's not a bad consolation prize.
Well, so who do you think? Like, so we said Packers, we said Bucs, we said Rams, Steelers. The Bills are in there; they have to be.
Yeah, but why? Why would you do that?
Well, because I think at this point, T.J. Watt just wants. T.J. Watt. Well, I think he wants to win a Super Bowl too.
Yeah.
J.J. Watt wants to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
I think his first priority is to play with his brother. The Steelers are going to get J.J. Watt. Bottom line, I think they're the favorites.
So you think
it's up to the Steelers? Yeah. If the Steelers want J.J. Watt, he's theirs. In my opinion.
Well, did you see the news came out that like already a dozen teams reached out, which is like crazy,
dude. And I honestly kind of give credit to the Texans because they didn't trade him when they absolutely could have got. We talked about they could have gotten like maybe a first, like a late first.
No,
but they
I don't think
potentially.
You think they could have landed a first?
Well, think about it. If you're the Bucs, 32nd overall, like get J.J. Watt
for a guy who last year just had 5 sacks.
Yeah, but the sacks don't bother me.
I'm not saying he's bad. I know he's good, but still.
I know, but you got to look at J.J. Watt and think, well, we have JPP, and we have Ndamukong Suh, and we have Vita Vea. Holy hell, what happens if we get J.J. Watt?
Yeah,
like, you know
crazy.
What I mean? Like, he has not played in a situation aside from the Texans his whole career.
I know.
So it's going to be – I mean, don't be surprised. You know what? He's going to have a similar – do you remember when Calais Campbell left the Arizona Cardinals and went to the Jaguars? Went with that monstrous defense.
Mm-hmm.
Calais Campbell went off.
Yeah.
You know, I think that is what will happen if J.J. Watt goes to a playoff team, a team that has pieces. You're going to see
blow up.
Just a monster revitalization of J.J. Watt.
Okay, so where do you say one team right now, your gut feeling, does J.J. Watt end up?
I think it's the Steelers. It's too big. Yeah. It's a perfect situation. If
yeah,
they lose Bud Dupree, they still have him.
I'm going to go Steelers too, only because Pouncey just retired, and that cleared about what it would cost for like a 1-year deal, which was like 7-something million.
Would you be upset if – because here's the thing. I could be wrong, but I 100% in my gut feel like J.J. Watt wants to go there.
Oh,
and
I think
feel
he does,
like if he doesn't go there, it's entirely because of them.
Team. Oh, right, because they don't make a good enough offer.
So would you be upset or would you be understanding?
If I would be understanding if he went to the Bucs and Green Bay. Anywhere else, and I knew the Steelers made a good offer, I'd be like, what the heck?
No, I mean the Steelers.
Would I be upset with the Steelers? Yeah.
Because I'd be upset.
I think they should make a move. It lines up perfectly. You have Highsmith coming back, who's going to continue to develop.
Yeah.
You have T.J. Watt as your elite edge. You already got him. And then you have a rotational guy with J.J. Watt. Like, hello, yeah, do it.
Yeah, Hayward.
Definitely do it. And we just saw that the Bucs D-line basically won the Super Bowl for them.
Yeah.
So, dude, you need a good D-line. Yeah, make an offer.
Yeah, I mean, I want the Rams to make an offer.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm looking at, and the thing is, here's why I think that they won't. They'll make an offer, they'll call, but I don't necessarily think that they'll get it done because they are already paying A'Shawn Robinson $8 million per year.
Yeah.
And it's the most unfriendly contract because if they cut him, they get like negative whatever cap. Like it's bad. Like they can't cut him, and I wouldn't cut him anyway. I mean, I like A'Shawn, but I just think A'Shawn. You have Brockers. You have Aaron Donald.
Yep.
I think he'd be a nice piece with Sebastian Joseph Day and Gaines. I think having the two guys that were, double team more than anybody would be stellar. But I just, because something would have to give, and likely you're not going to stop double teaming Aaron Donald.
Right.
I think it's kind of the same thing with TJ Watt, who wasn't double teamed as often as his brother, but I think would be even less double. Well, he would be either more double teamed or less double teamed, depending on how they wanted to approach the situation. Plus, I just look at the Steelers and I'm like, when they were fully healthy, they looked like the best defense in football. They looked better than the Rams at one point.
They were the best
when they had Devin Bush and
then the tail end
when they had Devin Bush and when they had
that was the arc.
Bud Dupree.
Yeah, the Rams had like a huge surge at the end of the year, and they overtook them.
They were just playing on another level.
But yeah, I mean, getting Devin Bush back is huge, and I think people like totally slept on how much of an impact he had because he's young.
You should hear these analysts. They're like, "Oh, who are the Steelers going to get in the draft?" Yeah, I got this linebacker. I'm like, you forgot, man. Dude, people have literally forgotten about Devin Bush, it's
weird.
Like it's bizarre. Because I look at him, he's like the centerpiece of their defense after TJ Watt.
Yeah, he has to be. Him and I mean.
Well, if you had to pick a core three, it'd be him, TJ Watt, and I'd probably say Minka.
Yeah, that's what you're going to build your team around for the next 10 years is having a guy at every level. That's what I like about what they're doing is you have at the D-line, you have TJ Watt. He's your guy at that level. He's young and he's amazing. Then at the middle, which is you need someone in the middle, Devin Bush, young and amazing. And then at the secondary level, you got Minka, young and amazing. I think teams and defenses, if you look at them, really good ones, they have that kind of same structure where you have like an elite or great player that's talented at each level. You know? They're like a pillar of
the Steelers draft so well, dude. They always draft either guys that I've interviewed, guys that I love, or like those three guys you mentioned. I mean, I would say Bush I was a little lower on than you were. Because I loved Blake Cashman. Remember that? So, like, I had him at 2 or 3. I think I had him at 3 behind Devin White and Blake Cashman.
Okay.
But I was really high on him, gave him a first-round grade. Minka was 100%, can't miss, first-round pick.
Yeah.
Should be top 5, like, up there with the Derwin James of the world. And then, you remember, dude, I loved TJ Watt coming out.
Did you?
Yeah.
I feel like I forgot.
I think we both did.
I remember not being that excited about TJ Watt.
Really? I thought.
Yeah.
I was giving you credit. No, no. I thought we both really liked him.
I mean, I liked him
because you know why? I think you changed your tone. And when we were going over it, I remember we had this conversation on Common Grounds, and we're like, everyone is trying to say like he's not going to be good because he's like JJ Watt's brother, and they're trying to like hate on him.
Oh yeah.
And it's like I felt like as soon as that happened, like I went back and I watched more and more of him. And it was like the Christian McCaffrey effect where like I felt like people were trying to say like Christian McCaffrey wasn't going to be good. And then all of a sudden I went back and I watched Christian McCaffrey. I'm like,
now he's like the best. Just saying, like do it all.
Well, bro, you and I want him to turn into a wide receiver. He was a robot, bro. In the remember the combine drills, the receiver combine drills? He was a robot. Yeah. He was so good.
But yeah, I remember when they drafted TJ Watt, I was like, okay, I get it. But my concern honestly is just how he was built. He doesn't look like an edge rusher. Like, his legs are tiny. He's gotten bigger, and he continues to get bigger. But
he's long, though.
Especially when they first drafted him, his lower half was just like, you were like, oh, is he going to be able to, like, set the edge and hold up? And he's one of the best at it. But it was just a question I had.
No, he's good.
He's great.
I think, I'm just giving you credit because I remember that conversation. I think you turned your because I remember initially you weren't as high on him, and neither was I, and then we both went back and watched the film.
When you watch, I mean,
because here's the thing that's funny is during the draft, there's going to be a lot of narratives that come up. Like, for instance, Zach Wilson. We were talking about this last week, and how like Zach Wilson, his dad owns JetBlue. He's a pretty boy, doesn't try hard, and wasn't a captain. And all that does is make me want to go back and like really see if they're like that's a lot of smoke to throw. So you better be able to back that up.
They haven't talked to.
Yeah, and so
like
I go and I watch the film, and I'm like, this dude's a leader.
Oh,
you watched his film.
You thought he was a leader?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just watched film. I couldn't really tell from the film because I didn't see him like inside the huddle. It was just snap to snap.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was watching versus games, where you go and you type in like the player versus the team.
I felt like he just elevates everyone around him.
Dude, he's really good.
Because I wanted to bring it up because we talked about that last week, and you're like, yeah, I haven't watched him, but like I heard he's pretty good, and like I've seen a little bit of him. Then I saw you tweet about him, and you're like, this Zach Wilson guy's pretty good.
His arm is probably the second, third best behind Trey Lance. And
why does everyone want to discredit this kid?
I don't know. And he throws great balls. Great. I mean,
sounds like it's Josh Rosen all over again.
Really mobile.
Sounds like they want to turn him into something that he's not. They need Rosen, like a Johnny Manziel. No, I know that, and I feel like there's a lot to that, but I feel like they're almost trying to make him Johnny Manziel. I don't know why. I can't help but think they want to turn him into Johnny Manziel. I think it was
just the JetBlue thing, and people got turned off, and the narrative really just got taken off with
Manziel, the rich kid. I think, I'm pretty sold on that. That people that don't like him just want him to be the next Johnny Manziel.
But he's so good.
I will say this: I could not stand him in college, Johnny Manziel.
No, he was
not high on him at all.
Annoying, bro.
I didn't look at him as a true like NFL franchise quarterback. I don't know how all those teams had him at number one.
The money, he was very just money Manziel from day one.
If you watch the film, and I know you did, we talked about this years ago. He just would throw it up to Mike Evans, like, "Oh, congrats! You can throw up to a 6'5" receiver, go up and get it," and then everyone would be like, "Oh my God, Manziel! Did you see what he just did?"
True.
Like
he would run around, which he was good at.
Yeah,
good enough to do in college, not good enough to do in the NFL.
No,
different beast. But yeah, I like him a lot, and I'm just gonna say before moving on to the next topic that he's probably like my second quarterback. Honestly, it's Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and then Trey Lance.
Right now, I think it's Trey Lance, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson for me.
You have Trey Lance at 1 now?
I have Trey Lance at 1. I'm sticking with that.
Right.
It could change if I haven't fully watched all of Zach Wilson. I've watched 4 games. I want to watch every game that all these guys ever started. I'm different with the top quarterbacks. I want to watch every game.
Okay.
But I will say Fields is good. Fields is not the second best quarterback, and he's definitely not the best quarterback in this draft. He's just not.
No. I mean, but the thing about Fields is like we're saying he's potentially the 4th or 5th, whatever that would be, 4th quarterback.
That's still top 10.
That's still like if your team drafts him, like
that might be excited. Dude, that might be top 7, top 6.
Yeah. So all right, so that was J.J. Watt somehow turned into draft news.
That was interesting. Russell Wilson.
Yeah, what about him? What do you want to talk about?
I mean, what can you say? This guy's literally given his all to this franchise. I've said it for years. The Seattle Seahawks are not that good. They have not improved much at all. Their offensive line is always bad. Russell Wilson elevates everyone around him. And don't get me wrong, like people will be sitting there like, wait, so you're saying DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett? No, what I'm saying is that they have some good players, but all in all, they're like a 5-11, 6-10 team when you take Russell Wilson off that team.
It's similar to a Mahomes, not as good, but he elevates people for sure.
Yeah. And I don't think he'll get traded, but Seattle better watch it. They really, unless they're getting Dak Prescott, they better watch it.
Just make them happy. Like, what are you doing? Just stop. Like, support your franchise quarterback. It makes no sense.
If he were to get traded, the rumored top targets are the Colts, Washington, and Dallas.
I love how the Colts are at the front of every quarterback rumor.
Dude, that's why I love Chris Ballard, bro. Yeah. He doesn't – there's none of that like, oh, I might make a move. Like, no, you just lost Phillip Rivers. Go out and get your guy.
Yeah.
And that's what he's going to do. But
I would love – Russell Wilson in Washington would be game over.
Washington might be the favorites with that, to be honest with you.
But I don't think defense, he's going anywhere.
I don't think he's going anywhere. I feel like the most likely scenario is actually Dallas. I think the Dak Prescott switch. And that's the one thing.
That's so weird, though.
Well, I would take Dak Prescott over Russell Wilson.
Yeah, because he's younger.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that's weird for Dallas to do. It's like, we're not going to pay you, Dak, but yes,
oh, did you see?
We're going to give
Dallas
is
a
bunch for Russell
They're
Wilson.
expected to franchise tag him again.
That's so disrespectful.
I forgot. We had that later on in the show, but yeah, I don't actually think I wrote it in.
All right, I got to take a bathroom break, so we're going to go to an intermission real quick, guys, and be back in like 5 minutes. All right. So, bathroom break, and we left off on the Dak Prescott news. So, is this verified information that they're doing this, or
it's
what?
just more so like report.
Okay. Imagine though.
I hate it because I'm like, how much longer does this guy need to prove to you that he's a top 7 quarterback in football?
Dude, I don't know. Well, yeah, it's so weird how they're so hesitant to pay him what he's worth. He's worth that market value of what? 45?
Well, he got hurt. Okay, he got hurt because he was carrying your team. He was on pace for over 6,000 yards passing. Your defense sucks. You hired Mike McCarthy. You're the problem. You're
weird.
the problem.
Yeah.
Well, he has like weapons and like he has Zeke Elliott. Well, Zeke Elliott's now an average running back. Let's just make that very clear. Yeah. The offensive line isn't that great anymore. It's nowhere near the level it was 4 years ago. And the weapons, as great as they are, I think Dak would actually sacrifice his weapons for a defense where he doesn't have to throw 70 times a game to win a football game.
How's his offensive line right now? Is it okay?
Like, they're more bigger names than, I personally...
like what the Steelers line was this year. Like
that's actually a really good example. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not happy the way they're treating Dak at all.
Yeah, me neither, bro. Carson Wentz. So Bears and Colts are favorites.
Please go to the Colts.
Apparently, though, the Eagles are just asking for a lot.
They're annoying me, to be honest with you. Like, do you ever get annoyed when a team, like, clearly they're asking way more? But it's like, I understand starting on that, but, like, they're, like, not getting up on
They're asking. Is it still 2 firsts?
2 firsts, and, like, they want a player. Like, a legit player. Like,
how old is he? He's 28.
28.
I mean, I get it. They're basically saying that he's still the quarterback he was in his almost MVP.
Yeah, but it's hard to say that when you're literally saying that, yeah, we drafted a quarterback in the second round because we don't believe he's the same quarterback. Like,
and you're
contradicting yourself.
He was literally like one of the bottom 5 quarterbacks this year. It was bad. So
yeah, and you know me, I'm a huge Wentz fan.
Me too.
I want him to go to the Colts.
I want him to succeed.
That's where he'll succeed. Going to the Bears with Matt Nagy, who can't develop Mitch Trubisky to save his life. No. I just think the Bears are an awful fit for him, to be honest with you. And now it's like they're not even 100% going to guarantee bringing back Allen Robinson. He was a free agent. So it's like, Who is he throwing to? Oh, well, he's got Anthony Miller from 3 years ago who still hasn't developed as a second rounder at Memphis.
Yeah. So where do you think he ends up ultimately, though? I'm gonna say
I'm sticking by it, and I said it last week. My prediction was that he was going to go to the Colts this week.
I think it's the Colts.
I think it's the Colts because I think Chicago is they're the team that they can probably get the most out of. But I think that the Eagles, when they look at it, they're gonna be like weighing it. They're like, well, we could get a first in Nick Foles, or we can get 2 firsts from Indy, or whatever Indy's going to offer. I just think Chris Ballard is doing it the right way. He's not showing his hand. He's not going to, back down. He's literally like, this is what I'm giving you, and I'm not giving you anything more.
Right.
And I just think eventually it's going to come to pass where like the Eagles are sitting there like, all right, we got to move Wentz.
You have to eventually. Well, soon, to be honest. And then, what do you think the Eagles will do, though? Do you think they turn around and then use a pick on a quarterback this year, or do you think they say Hurts is our guy?
I think they say Hurts is our guy, and I think it makes sense. I think Hurts is your guy. I think Hurts can play in this league. I like Hurts more long-term than I like Tagovailoa.
Yeah, me too. He looked terrible, to be honest. So that's an easy one for
And
me.
I think Miami is in a different perspective because you know how I feel about the young quarterbacks, but
I know you gotta let them develop, which I agree with.
But Tua is in a weird situation where Miami, they got a top 5 pick out of that trade with the Texans.
Yeah.
So sorry, Tua, but this is one of the rare circumstances we can go and we can get a Lance or a Wilson or maybe even trade up and get Lawrence.
Right.
Who knows?
And then there's going to be another team that would probably give up a good pick to get Tua from them. They can always offload him.
Yeah, I don't know what his market is.
I don't know what it is either.
What does Tua command?
I'm not saying he's good. I don't think he's good, but there's always a team willing to give a good pick for a former first-round young quarterback.
It's true.
There's just always
What are the Bears doing, by the way? What are they actually doing? They were like, it looks like they're shooting aimlessly. Like you put a blindfold on and they're trying to hit a target and they're like, because it's like Goff.
They're in La La Land, dude.
Wentz.
I feel like
and you realize, like, Goff does not fit anything. Like, okay, Goff is like having Trubisky, but not mobile.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. Again, I think it falls into the
I think Matt Nagy is, like, freaking out right now. He's, like, realizing he's probably on his last legs. They made the playoffs twice. Great. What have they done?
No one was scared of them.
And let's be real here. Did Matt Nagy lead them in the playoffs, or did Chuck Pagano's defense this year lead them?
It was the defense.
And Vic Fangio the years prior. To me, I think that Matt Nagy's on the hot seat, and I think they're trying to make a drastic move. Ryan Pace knows he's on the hot seat, the GM there. I mean, if I'm the Bears, the only thing that can save those two jobs, I'm going out and just throwing the kitchen sink and then some at Deshaun Watson and see if I can get him.
Well, that segues nicely into our Deshaun Watson topic.
We did not plan that, believe it or not.
Quiet on the Watson front. And, I mean, I just told you the headlines that came out. So, to me, I don't think he's moving, unfortunately. Unless something just dramatic happens where it's just so toxic they have to. But I really think, and I think it's the right move, but I think they kind of already damaged the bridge, that the Texans have to do anything they can to keep Watson because he's amazing.
Yeah. I mean,
they screwed the pooch on it, but
he's not going to, I'm telling you, he's not going to back off.
You don't think he'll stay?
He's not going to back off.
You think he'll force his way out like an AB?
Yeah.
Take it out of the AB book?
I think, honestly,
if we see Watson dye his hair and start throwing bags of gummy-shaped you-know-whats at people, we'll know what he's trying to do.
How about this? If Deshaun Watson wants to protest his season, he should go to every game that's not a Texans game.
What do you mean?
So he should go in the front row of every single game.
Oh, you mean like sit out?
Sit out at the
in
front
the regular
row
season?
In the regular season. It'd be the funniest way to protest.
That'd be one way.
I'll be honest with you. I think it goes more past the money. I think Deshaun Watson feels disrespected.
Yeah.
I feel like his voice doesn't matter. He feels that way. And I feel for Houston. You know, Houston and all their fans, they've lost James Harden. They've lost Russell Westbrook.
Yep.
They've lost J.J. Watt. They've lost, guys in baseball with George Springer. I mean, they're losing all these guys, and they lost DeAndre Hopkins. And it's like, you're sitting there and you're like, now you're going to lose Watson? Like,
but I don't know that they are. I think
unless
he does, it's going to be on Watson, you know? He's going to have to force his way out.
I think Watson can do it, and I think the agent that he has can do it, David Mulugeta. I think don't sleep on him. He's got his ways. He's one of the best agents in all of sports, and I think he can get Watson out of there.
All right.
I think right now, from how it sounds, is that the Raiders and the Panthers have the biggest want for him. But he recently said that he's intrigued by the 49ers and the Broncos. So
that's kind of weird.
I feel like he's saying that he's just intrigued by these teams, or he's going to start saying more teams, because I think as this goes on,
try and make an effort for
he's
him.
just I think at one point or another he had a specific list, and now I think he's like, I don't think you're getting it. I'm not playing here.
Right.
So you can trade me to whoever you want, but I'm not playing here.
Yeah, man.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up going to the Jets, to be honest with you. I think it'd be a great fit for him.
Is anything about the Jets good, though?
Well, I like Saleh. I like Mike LaFleur as the OC.
You're right. I
like Denzel Mims long term.
I forgot about the changes they're making.
The Michael P. Ryan at running back. He's got a legit left tackle in Mekhi Becton. The offensive line's getting better. Defense is solid.
Yeah.
You saw the potential of the defense last year in the Rams game, if you watched that.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
so I mean,
we're just gonna have to monitor that, though.
Very
I don't know
much
what he's gonna do. I really don't. I hope he does whatever he wants, though. If you feel like you don't want to be there, man, that you have every right.
Keep in mind they have that pick, those picks from Jamal Adams trade.
Yeah, and I just hate how people are trying to say well, it's a contract. It's like, bro, if the shoe was on the other foot, teams cut players instantly all the time.
I know.
All the time. So who cares? If your franchise isn't holding up their end of the bargain and being at least good to you, absolutely get yourself out of there. Who cares? Other NFL news. Raiders showing extensive interest in Juju Smith-Schuster, as they should. And I could see that happening absolutely.
I can literally hear John Gruden. Juju Smith-Schuster. Like, I can hear that. The thing is, Gruden called these games on ESPN, so I could hear their names. Yeah. He'd be like, "This is a Gruden grinder." Notice all the Gruden grinders he's interested in, huh?
Yep. It's kind of, it's
Derek Carr, man. He's a quarter, and then all of a sudden Derek Carr's quarterback.
Yep.
You know?
Ah, man, it's gonna suck, but I really think Juju's not gonna be a Steeler.
Juju with Henry Ruggs.
That'd be a nice combo.
And
that'd be a nice one
Darren
too.
Waller.
That'd be a nice stable right there.
I mean, and if they bring back Aguilar, which I don't think they will, but Aguilar had a monster season, you know, as a true deep threat. Like,
Derek Carr had a good year too.
The Raiders weren't that far off from making the playoffs.
No,
they need to build up the defense. Team. I don't think their offense is the problem. I think it's the defense. And I think Derek Carr, he's a little bit limited within structure, but I think Derek Carr in what he does just as a football player in general, I think he's good enough to win you a Super Bowl.
Important games, yeah. I think so. You just have to support him more than you would like one of the top 5 quarterbacks.
Well, it goes back to what we were saying. If you're like an elite pocket passer, you don't have to be mobile. Like if you're like a Brady who sees things before you don't have to be mobile.
Right.
But if you don't see that, if you're like Goff, he's a slow mental processor, you have to be mobile.
Right.
You have to buy yourself time.
Exactly.
And I feel like Carr, while he doesn't have that, he can run every now and then, but
he's mobile enough to.
He's not great out of structure though.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like when you keep him in structure, I mean, he's one of the more underrated quarterbacks in football. I'd say he's top 15. You know.
Yeah, I think so.
Like I mean, I saw the way he bounced back.
I don't think he's a top half.
People
quarterback.
put him at the end of the 20s, man. I'd say mid 20s. I've seen 25 a lot.
I think he's like anywhere from like, I don't know, 14 to.
I'll tell you right now, if the 49ers get him, I'm worried.
Well, yeah, he's definitely better than Jimmy
But they
G.
did say that they're not going to trade him. They said that Mariota could be up for trade. Mariota's an interesting one because if you need a quarterback, he's mobile. He looked really good when he came in for Carr earlier in the year. I think that guy can play. I think Mike Mularkey almost killed him. I told you this so many times.
Well,
he went out there 40% healthy and played.
I remember that. Remember that.
I think now he's fully healthy, and that would be an interesting option there. Say you get some pieces for Mariota, maybe you trade Mariota for a receiver. Maybe we see a Brissett for Dorsett trade. Remember the Patriots and the Colts? Maybe it's something like that. So then you have Juju, you have Ruggs, you have Waller, and then let's see, who could use Mariota? Like, I don't know, maybe Washington. And Washington trades you Steven Sims. So now you have a return guy and you have a slot receiver. Or you get Kelvin Harmon, a guy that missed the entire season, really high on coming out of the draft.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How old is Mariota, man? It's hard to keep track of all of these guys.
He's got to be around 26, 27 years old.
Wow, 27. Yeah, man. He's worth trading for.
Yeah, I think if I was going to say, honestly, the Rams should consider if they stuck with Goff, Wolford, and had them battle it out.
Yeah.
You trade for Mariota and have Mariota and Wolford battle it out. Then you move Goff and get a pick or something.
Maybe, man. But that'll be interesting. And then Odell Beckham wants to play with Tom Brady. To that, I just say, who doesn't right now? I mean... And Odell,
I don't see
what
it
do you
being
think of Odell, by
real
the way?
Though.
Odell was people were trying to tell me he was the greatest wide receiver.
Well, I wasn't saying that.
No, people were when it was AB and Odell, and AB was constantly beating him every year statistically. I think he had 1 year where he didn't. People would keep trying to tell me Odell Beckham is better than AB. Blah blah. Bro, no.
I love Odell.
He's obviously he's uber talented.
I think.
But
the issue with him, it's very simple. After he got that ankle injury in preseason, I don't think he's been the same. And I also will say this. When he was in that offense with McAdoo.
He got overhyped because of one catch, in my opinion.
Well, I don't look at it like that, though. I mean, this is one of the more dynamic players in space when he gets out in space. I know he's dynamic. And I just felt like they did a poor job of that at the end of his tenure with the Giants. And then I felt like Stefanski was actually finding something with him, and he got hurt.
I just don't know what his value is right now. He's a very confusing player.
He needs to reset his market. He needs, and I'm not just talking about money-wise. He needs to let us know, where are you on the tier list?
Do you think the Browns trade him, or do you think the Browns look at him as a part of their team to push further in the playoffs?
I don't think the Browns should trade him.
Yeah.
I don't believe that they were a better team without Odell. I think, if Odell came to pass, I think they might have actually been able to beat the Chiefs, to be honest with you. They came really close. And I think Odell might have been, that one dynamic play away. They probably win that game. So I don't think Odell's the guy that you just trade away. I just also think, as somebody that loves Odell, he's one of my absolute favorite players in the league. I just wouldn't say, I'd say he dropped off a little bit. And I think the injuries have to do with it. Yeah. And I think he's honestly, he lost confidence as well.
And he's emotional, like he's not a stable player. Like he's just not cerebral.
No, that's true, and I think that's something that Jarvis does so well.
Right, very.
Because Jarvis will get in your head, and he talks, and he'll hit you too.
Yeah, he's consistent emotionally though too. He's not going to get out of hand or let things get to him, but he's got to work on that aspect of his game. Obviously, Odell is still amazing. Like the stuff he does with, like what you said, with the ball in his hands and just he's special when he gets the ball out in space. I just think that he's been around Ben McAdoo for so long in his career that he was with Mike Sherman for like the early parts of his career. And I thought Sherman did a nice job of putting him in position. Or it might not have been Sherman. It might have been Shula. I could be wrong. It could be Mike Shula. But anyway, it was Mike somebody. And the OC put him in position to succeed far often than Ben McAdoo. When Ben McAdoo came, he was the head coach. Former quarterbacks coach for the Packers. He becomes the head coach with the Giants. We already know how that ended. This is somebody that would run 2-yard outs to a guy that, when you put him out in the middle of the field, dude can't be stopped. Yes. But let's take him out of, So I just felt like that kind of hurt him. And then he went to the Browns, and he's been all sorts of injury prone. And though he was just bad. He was dropping balls. He wasn't making the plays he used to make.
Well, I thought that was last year. This year, I thought you started to see him start to come back a little bit.
Yeah, he
and the thing that bums me out the most, what I'll say this about OBJ, and no one talks about this, is that he was starting to come on this year, get back to where he was. And that was right around the time where Baker was not, Baker was a lot better at the end of the year than he was early on in the season. So when OBJ got hurt, that was Baker at his worst. And then as soon as he got hurt, Baker started to improve.
You know why I think that is because when OBJ was in the game, they tried to make it more of a passing attack. And when they lost him, they went to a more run-heavy offense.
You're thinking by taking him out of the offense, it doesn't necessarily make them a better offense. It just sets their focus on the run game.
Yeah, and I think it does make them a better offense.
For that reason, then, you probably think he should be traded then, right?
I've been saying I don't think he fits what they do best.
Well, I guess I'd look at it like this.
Because Baker's not an amazing pocket passing quarterback.
No. But he can deal with it because he can move out of the pocket. He just needs to cut down with the decision making. I think is very sporadic.
His decision making is very sporadic.
But what I will say is that Tampa, they could get OBJ. I don't know if they'll do it.
Imagine.
If Godwin leaves, he's not going to leave. But if he were to leave, I think OBJ goes there 100%. But even with Godwin, I don't necessarily think AB comes back, because say what you will, and I know people are talking about his story and how Tom Brady took him in.
He was lighting it up at the end of the year.
AB's going to get paid though. I think he's going to get paid.
Will he? Will a team be okay, he proved
enough?
Dude,
if you're Indy, say you go out and get Carson Wentz.
Yeah, but the second...
And then you have all of that money.
AB was in a perfect situation where that's risky to me. That's very risky because
there's no doubt he can play.
He goes somewhere where he doesn't feel like they're a good team and he's not in the playoffs and he's not important anymore. That's when the old AB might just creep back out.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
What about the Steelers?
Heck no, dude. Heck no. That ship has sailed.
Yeah, I would say if AB is gone, I think they would still ramp up. I mean, if Brady wants OBJ and OBJ wants to be with Brady that badly, I think OBJ would take a pay cut to do it.
Probably. Well, if Brady wants anyone, you get him right now.
But I think OBJ needs to reset his market, and not just money-wise. I think he needs to, basically tell us, I'm an elite receiver, or I'm not an elite receiver, but he needs to show it to us because he's kind of all over the place, you know?
And then, so that's OBJ. AJ Boye, cut.
Dude.
Interesting name.
He needs to go there. Here's why.
To the Rams?
Very simple.
Because you like him.
Him and Ramsey. You saw what they did.
I know.
For right up in up close and personal.
How old is he now?
I think he's 28.
Dang. I feel like these guys have been in the league way longer. And we're always 27, 28.
Well, I also think that 2020 feels like it took 5 years.
Maybe.
So I think we're tacking on these numbers to these guys' ages. I mean, let me see here. AJ Bouye. Let's just...
No, that would be great for the Rams.
He's 29. Okay.
What would he cost, do you think?
He'd be 30 in August.
You can play at 30, especially a guy like Boye. He was never like his speed wasn't what made him great, so you don't have to worry about.
I'm not gonna lie to you. He's fallen off a bit.
Has he?
In like a sense, like stats wise, that's like your arguments. Yeah. Well, no, that's like when you go to the negotiation table, you say I had 8. Like that's why guys like Xavier and Howard get paid. Because they'll go to the negotiation table and be like, I had 10 interceptions last year. You know what I mean?
What you gonna do? Yeah.
I feel like Boye makes sense for the Rams because he doesn't even need to play on the outside. He'd be the slot guy.
Oh, he'd be great in the slot.
Yeah.
Ooh,
so you get Darius Williams back because you know Darius Williams. He's a stud. Like you know that, right? Like the.
Yeah, he's been great for you guys.
Yeah. So you get those two boundary corners, and then you go out and get Boye. If you can do it, I'd probably say you can get him for $6 million for 1 year, maybe.
I would do that.
Yeah, why? If you can afford that, that's better than paying Troy Hill. That's better than paying Nickel Roby-Coleman, which I know he's a free agent. There's people clamoring to bring him back. I think they let him go for a reason. I don't know what the reason is, but I think they did. And it's better than watching David Long play corner.
I like A.J. Boye in the slot. That would be like really good for his skill set right now.
I think as he gets older, I think the slot makes more sense.
Exactly, because he's he's not scared to stick his face in the run game at all.
And to be fair, he's 29 years old. He's not exactly old.
No, he's not.
Corners can play until
Joe
they're 35.
33, 32?
Yeah.
That doesn't scare me.
Corners can play until they're like 35. Then you start to see it. Al Harris, perfect example. But
and it also just matters like what their skill set was. Like a Richard Sherman's still good and going because his skill set was never like elite speed.
Yeah.
If your corner is like, oh, elite speed is why he was so great, that's when you would get worried about age. But
yeah, I'm not worried, with Boye at all.
No, I think he would be great.
I think he's a great fit. One thing I'll say is that, looking at all these free agents, what we tend to see when a new defensive coordinator comes in is he wants a guy of his, maybe 1, 2 guys. DeMonte Casey is a guy you need to watch out for. You loved him in the draft. I know you did. He had like 8 interceptions 2 years ago. He missed all of last year for the most part. He was in the defense with Raheem Morris. I think that is most likely where they'll go. But don't be surprised at Jalen Ramsey, who's very, very vocal about what he wants. Because he came out, I told you, he came out and wanted Watson. They get Stafford. But I think he'll be vocal about Boye.
You're probably right. Okay, so Pouncey brothers retire.
That's sad.
Good for them, man.
It was a good long career. I wanted to see the Steelers make the Super Bowl with Pouncey again.
It hurt.
And I feel bad for his brother who didn't come close.
Yeah.
Like, not at all.
I know.
Because he was with the Dolphins for like his whole career, and then he went to the Chargers, and the Chargers had the 7-9 season.
Yep. Yeah, man. But they were 2 great players, and they were just fun to watch because they were so athletic on the inside. Like, just
how dope is that? They're both like, "Hey, man, you want to retire? I want to retire.
Yeah.
Let's have a Gilbert announce it."
Yeah, dude.
That was cool. I liked that.
Yeah. But yeah, good for them. They both made a good amount of money, so they're gonna live nice retirement lives.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be complaining about their career.
But do you think Pouncey, the Steeler Pouncey, has a shot for making the Hall of Fame at some point?
I think he has a shot.
Yeah.
It's harder with
not
centers.
First ballot for sure. Definitely not first ballot.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even think Jeff Saturday's in the Hall of Fame, to be honest with you. Center for the Indianapolis Colts all those years with Peyton Manning. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you have to be really good. And, I mean, he was up there. So, I mean, he's going to have an opportunity.
He had 2.
Mike is not.
He had 2 All-Pros.
Because Mike doesn't have a Super Bowl. And I just don't think you'll be, like, disqualified if you're a center and you don't have a Super Bowl.
He also wasn't as consistent. But the Steeler Pouncey had 2 All-Pros, and then every year that he actually was fully healthy for the year, he made the Pro Bowl.
You should do a video on Marcus
The Pro
Pouncey.
Bowl is like, we know how the Pro Bowl is, but for Hall of Fame voting, they do
count
consider it. They care
They
about
count it. I mean, well, think about this. Like, every year, say, like, we always played Madden. Marcus Pouncey was always in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like, every year consistently. I know I won't go entirely just based on Madden, but, I mean, he was always, like, a top 5
he was
center.
just someone that people said, yes, he's top.
And I think he has that. I think he just has that.
Name recognition.
That name recognition.
Yes.
I think he could. I'm not saying he will.
I
think like a guy like Kevin Mawai, guaranteed. You know, he But I mean, centers are just so
It's
hard.
tough.
Like, I think Saturday should be in, but we'll see if he gets in.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he might already be in. And I'm just losing my mind, but I don't
know.
I don't think he's in. I'm gonna check real quick.
Yeah.
But I don't think Jeff Saturday's in.
And then Orlando Brown Jr. wants out of Baltimore, which I just think is so funny.
So
he wants to be a left tackle.
So I actually think this is really interesting. He could be a trailblazer for this new
Jeff
movement.
Saturday in the Hall of Fame though?
He's not.
Okay. Yeah. What do you think about that? A tackle demanding to be traded so he can play left instead of right, being a diva
The
tackle.
audacity. No, I like this. And the reason
good, man. He was great for
yeah,
that. And I didn't like him coming out. I was like, oh, he's so unathletic, but he's just so big. He can manhandle anyone.
I was just looking. Don't mind me. I was just looking at Jeff Saturday's
resume.
Yeah, 2-time All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, 2-time second-team All-Pro.
Well, wait a minute. That means Pouncey's is better technically.
Super Bowl champion
based on accolades. Besides I don't know that Pouncey won a Super Bowl because I think he was drafted 2010.
Dude, he retired in 2012. He actually went to the Pro Bowl with the Packers, and then he just retired. But
so Orlando Brown.
So Orlando Brown, to me, I like this because I think it's going to be a trailblazer in this league. Now I think you have these right tackles that they're like, I like this, but like I'm a left tackle at heart. I want to protect the quarterback's blind side.
I think that's fair.
I think it's absolutely fair because, look, Ronnie Stanley, I love Ronnie Stanley. He's great. But when Ronnie Stanley went down, the guy that kept them going was Orlando Brown.
Yeah.
And this is a guy that got so much crap for his pre-draft stuff.
Know.
Dude, we were cracking up, but we also kind of felt bad.
He was so unathletic, though.
Yeah.
It was so bad to watch him in drills.
Yeah, I just like to pretend
it doesn't matter.
Happen.
He was manhandling dudes all year, so.
Kind of goes to show you, though. You can be – I mean, remember Aviante Collins, the kid out of TCU? I think he was tackle.
Yeah.
He runs like a 4.8 – I think it was a 4.79 40 for tackle.
Oh, you're talking about the guy who ran the fastest ever.
Yeah.
Every time for a tackle.
Like it was recently. And everyone's
not,
like, oh, he's going the first
right?
round. Yeah, he's not in the league.
Yeah.
I don't think. I
think he got released. Or
yeah,
he's on a practice squad, maybe. I don't know.
He's probably on the and I don't like want him to fail, but it just kind of goes to show you though. He's on your team.
Oh, the Steelers. What? Oh, he's on the P squad for us.
He's on your.
That's
amazing,
why I thought of
bro.
it. Subconsciously, I probably knew he was on our practice squad, and that's why I said practice squad.
That is hilarious.
But yeah, no, you're right. I remember the hype around him just for running.
Dude, look
really
at the first thing that comes up. This YouTube video. It says "Shocker." Aviante Collins cut Vikings.
Shocker. When did they draft him?
Oh, that's a good question. He's 27 years old.
It looks like
he was drafted. 5? Oh, he's undrafted.
Oh, really?
He was undrafted.
He must have been really bad on tape.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he'll end up being your bookend left tackle.
I imagine.
Dude, we're going to look back at this, and if he is.
That'd be hilarious.
But that's my point, though, is like the NFL Combine is somewhat of a crapshoot. If you have to take it for what it is.
Yeah.
I think it also can answer questions or raise questions. So if a player is faster at the Combine and then I go back and I watch the film and he's not that fast on film, I'm going to assume it's a mental processing issue. I'm going to assume he doesn't have the instincts and it's him. He has to think more, and so he can't play to the speed that he wants to play at, and that scares me. But if a guy runs slower at the Combine but he's faster on tape, I don't care. And that to me is Cooper Kupp. I think Cooper Kupp ran a 4.65, but I venture he runs like a 4.52 on the field.
And also, you really are splitting hairs with that stuff because when you think about it, it's a tenth of a second. Like
it's ridiculous.
You can lose a tenth of a second by accidentally just like moving your arm in a weird way during the dash.
Dude, think about like how many times people are like, yeah, he runs a 4.4, and then people are like, oh, he runs a 4.3, or he runs a 4.2, and it's like. I mean, it's really, really fast, but like
literally though, like that's how big, like minuscule the difference is. Like if you like, I've watched videos on the forum. If you just move your arm in a weird enough way, people lose like 0.2 of seconds or 0.2. Like it's that minuscule of a difference. So it's like, if they look fast on tape, I'm gonna take the tape over that. If they're outrunning guys on tape all the time, it's like okay.
When in doubt, take the tape.
Yeah.
Always take the tape.
For sure.
Because, I mean, like, I almost feel like the Combine was kind of fun for us to watch. Like, we just kind of looked at it like it was really cool. Like, seeing the like when was it Devin White like jumps like a 45 thing like his vertical was like
something.
stupid.
It was 40 I think something.
It was something nuts.
Yeah.
Like it was NBA level nuts.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing is like I find those cool, but like tape is always going to tell you what like it actually is.
But where do you think Orlando Brown goes, if anywhere? I mean, that sucks that the Ravens are like being forced into trading a great tackle.
I do think it is kind of unfair because the Ravens, I mean, they're going to do it.
Do you think it sends like a bad precedent? Like, are you worried about the precedent a little bit that's getting set by these players now? Because like eventually it might get to a point where like you can't keep anyone because they're like, I don't like the way that coach talks to me. Trade me.
I mean,
you know,
I
like
think
what if it gets to that
definitely
level?
think it's worried. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good question because we've been on the side of Deshaun Watson and rightfully so in this situation. But
these precedents.
What if it gets misinterpreted though, based on so people are like, well, Deshaun Watson did it, I'm gonna do it. But your situation, you've won 12 games this year.
Once you open, we've seen in life when doors open, they continue to open, and then you start to get too far to one side on a thing, and then it's not good, and it's like,
hey, you want to hear a funny joke?
We need to reel this back.
This is not football related, but income tax was supposed to be temporary.
Yeah, I saw that.
So it's like
it was for the Civil War or something.
Yeah. So as you know, we get.
I think it was state tax. It was something. Yeah. Income state. I don't know, but yeah.
No, it was income tax.
But you set that. Basically,
exactly.
I'm saying like once those precedents are set, it's hard to reel them back.
Absolutely.
And if they keep getting more and more like flimsy, like this is kind of.
You could associate this with so many things.
You could argue that him being like, I want to be a left tackle, trade me, when he's a right tackle, it's like, are we getting to a point where it's too, like, that's kind of ridiculous?
There's a lot of ridiculous things too. Like why is it every guard, every tackle that plays well in college? Yeah, I like him, but he's gonna be a guard. Like why are we just kicking everybody in at guard now? You know why? I guess I understand Orlando's view because he really feels like his. So think about this, Adam. You're in a position at your job. And you're put like all of a sudden this guy comes down with COVID, right? So he has COVID. You go into this position. This position now, you feel like you're thriving. This is where you need to be. When he comes back from COVID, now you have to go back to your position where you're like, I was doing well, but I know I can do better there. I was killing it there. I was thriving there. I feel like that is the way we have to look at it with Orlando Brown. I don't think it's anything against the Ravens, and I think he's trying to make this as respectful as he can. Keep in mind, his father, Orlando Brown Sr., was left tackle for them. But, so, it's kind of like this.
But it's also like that's almost like it's the same position these days.
It is and it isn't. I think the right tackle position.
Don't give me the money argument either.
No. It's
just use that with the agent. Be like, he told you he wants to be a left tackle. You kept him. So
I think it's all about
like a left tackle.
The pressure of he wants the pressure of protecting the blind side. He wants to take that on. And I feel like when you move to right, now all of a sudden it's a different game. You're going up against. There's only a few guys in the league. Like so, there's 32 guys that line up on that side. There's 32 that line up on this side. I don't think so. I don't.
You say I don't think so, but would we have ever thought a right tackle is like trade me because I'm a left tackle?
Well, that's different though, because corners will alternate. They won't always play on the same side of the field, and more so because of how much nickel is used.
Okay, what about guards? What if now guards are like I'm a left guard?
It's
imagine though.
I mean, it's a little. It's I guess the right tackle and the left tackle is way different. But I also have to keep this in mind, like. Jackie Slater for the Rams is one of the best I mean, he might be better than Orlando Pace, and he was the right tackle for the Rams. And he was there for 20 years. Back in the day, the best tackle was always the right tackle.
Yeah, I know.
And now it's always the left tackle, so you go back and you're like, wait, why was Jackie Robinson the right tackle? I thought the best tackle was the left tackle. It's like now I kind of feel like it's become the left tackle. It's like a responsibility. It's almost like this thing.
Of pass rushers now.
Absolutely. I don't necessarily think it's a competition issue.
It's literally just the blind side thing.
I think the blind side, the idea of being that last line of defense for your quarterback, I just think is...
And I think it's fair right now, but I just wonder what kind of door this opens.
I mean, he might have opened up Pandora's box, to be honest with you. That is a really
Especially
good
if they
point.
do trade him. They're like, all right,
dude,
fine.
And Wirfs, man.
Yeah.
Wirfs is a left tackle.
Yeah.
And he's a right tackle right now.
He might pull this next.
And he pulls it next. Donovan Smith, get the hell out of here.
All right. Washington signs Taylor Heineke to 2-year deal.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's the guy, but whatever.
He's not the guy, but I if they want to roll with him to start and draft a quarterback, I'm down for that.
I think that's what their plan is, to be honest.
I mean, they signed him to a 2-year, $8 million deal. If they're giving him $4 million, that's a lot.
Yeah.
$4 million's a lot. Like if it's a
I think it's more like have him here while we find our guy.
What if they went out and got Mariota?
I would be okay with that. I would think that's a good move.
How much better is he than Heineke? I think he's way better than Heineke, but I think Heineke looked good in that one game.
Yeah, he's definitely better for sure.
I think Heineke, the mobility factor with Mariota is so interesting to me because I feel like their offensive line's really good. They got to make sure that they bring back Scherf because Scherf is great.
Yeah.
But for the most part, their offensive line's really good. I think their defensive line's phenomenal. So I think their defense is top 3 in the league. We've discussed this. Rams, Steelers, Washington. I'd say the 3 best defenses. Tampa would be 4 for me.
Mm-hmm.
But so if you have a top 3 defense, you have Terry McLaurin, you have Antonio Gibson, you have those pieces. Maybe you grab some other guys in the draft and free agency. You get Mariota, man. I mean, Terry McLaurin's great when he has to improvise, and this is somebody that's always working to get open. And then you have the emergence of Logan Thomas at tight end, and it's like you have weapons there. Just go out and get your guy. Like we've said it, they're a quarterback away. Mariota might be looking for a redemption story here, and I think it was smart for him to sign with the Raiders. I think it was good coaching to have be with John Gruden. But at some point or another, man, he's got to be able to have another starting job. I don't think he's a journeyman backup quarterback.
He should get one more shot somewhere. But
yeah.
All right, so Matthew Stafford was playing with a torn UCL.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Dude, I was watching the film. So, yeah, it was his left elbow.
Oh, so it wasn't in his throwing
arm. It wasn't his throwing arm, but then he had
I thought it was in his throwing arm.
Well, he had the torn UCL in his thumb.
Yeah, but
his throwing arm.
Okay, but that's different than I thought it was the elbow where you generate
But the thing that's crazy about
that it's not crazy that you had a messed up thumb, but
do you know his reasoning for hiding it all year long?
Yeah, something about people are dealing with.
He said people are dealing with way more with COVID and everything. Like he didn't want to overshadow them.
I mean, that doesn't make him a hero.
I just feel like that.
But it's nice. It's a nice.
It's a nice thing to say.
When the headlines blow up Matthew Stafford is.
No, I'm not.
And they do that to all the players, not just Matthew Stafford. I've never thought Matthew Stafford is a bad person. I always thought he's a down to earth.
Well, he's one of those guys. I think he could be up for a Man of the Year award sometime.
I just think he's super down to earth, and he's a cool dude.
Did you see him and Kelly are going to donate $1 million to the Detroit Education Center? Yeah, I just think that's great. Awesome.
But I just love how anytime a player does anything like that, it's like they're being a decent human.
No, I get that. I think it was really cool with the UCL thing though, because he explains dude, they had the armband, and then they had all this tape. They were saying it was holding it in place.
Why? How did it happen? Was there a story behind it? Just a bad tackle, or or just
any of those hits, man? Yeah. I can't stress it enough. I actually have the stats right here.
Is he getting surgery or no?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But I have the stats right here from my video I did on him. I don't know if you checked it out, but I went through every single game. And he had 161 pressures, 101 hurries, 27 hits, 33 sacks.
That's a lot.
Okay, so let's go through these because I have all 17 weeks. I have all seven. I'll just break them down real quick.
Okay.
I have all 17 weeks broken down for how many pressures he had. 14, 10, 10, 11, 8, 11, 15, 9, 4, 12, 13, 14, 8, 15, 7.
Right.
He constantly had pressure.
Yeah, his line was not
very good. Hits, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 4, 3, 4, 4, 3. Dude, this guy's constantly getting hit, and it's the offensive line, they have some pieces there. Taylor Decker's not very good. I don't know where this idea that came from that he was this really good left tackle that I keep seeing.
Taylor Decker,
the left tackle. He's from Ohio State. I mean,
okay.
I
don't know.
I'm pretty sure he's number 68. I think it was 68 that we're talking about, but I believe it was Taylor Decker.
Okay.
And let's see here. Yeah, Taylor Decker was not good.
Yeah.
On that film that I put up, guys like Terrell Crosby stood out. Frank Ragnow, he played with a broken throat. He's my hero. But they're like those guys stepped up. But dude,
broken throat?
Yeah.
How do you break?
I love it. You're like, whoa, hold on, broken throat.
That's a new one.
Yeah, no, I mean he's my hero for that. I love it. I didn't know throats could break.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, so Jonah Jackson was a rookie 3rd-round pick out of also Ohio State. He was all right. Taylor Decker's their 1st-round pick in 2016, and he was horrendous. Every time I watched, Stafford is getting pressure from his blind side every single time. I mean, it felt ridiculous to me. So
I mean, I think we all know that Stafford is poised for one of his best years, if not his best.
Yeah. So I think people are worried about him being injury prone. I'm like, he got hit a ton.
I don't really think he's injury prone.
No, I mean he's gotten hurt
been dinged up and he plays through it.
Yeah, exactly. Which your guy did it all the time. Ben's done it. Tom Brady's done it. Tom Brady got hurt, I think his ankle, and he just tapes it up.
Yeah.
I mean Russell Wilson, of anybody, deserves the Iron Man award. That dude's literally played with like a sprain, like he had a high ankle sprain, and he just taped it up, and he didn't miss.
Yeah, I mean Ben's done that.
Like I've seen Russell Wilson get ragdolled by Donald. And then he gets back up and he's just like, all right, let's do this. Like,
yeah, he's a madman.
Dude, he is a madman. So there's guys in the league that do that.
Yeah, and then Marvin Jones and other players are texting Stafford about joining up. Sounds about right. I mean,
I would love Marvin Jones. He was huge for them last year. I don't know if any of those happen to be Danny Amendola, who's a free agent. Jamal Agnew's a free agent. Could be a help in the return game. Also was a wide receiver. Mohamed Sanu, free agent, I thought played well. Galladay's a free agent, way out of the price range. And then they had Quintez Cephas. Right now, the only receiver on the roster is Quintez Cephas. But
for the Lions?
Yeah.
They only have one wide receiver on
everyone else is under yeah, so Jared Goff's going to be thrown to Quintez Cephas and our guy TJ Hawkinson, who's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think if you're looking at it, like just looking at these guys, because they're all – so – let's just go through them real quick. I mean, those receivers, any of those stand out to you that could go to the Rams? I think Marvin Jones.
Amendola and Marvin Jones.
Yeah, Amendola. That would be really cool if he reunited with the Rams. I mean, he was in St. Louis, but it'd be cool. Ode Abushi, I don't think so. Agnew, I think would be interesting. Adrian Peterson. Let me just say this right now. Peterson's not done. We give Gore a lot of credit, and rightfully so. Adrian Peterson looks way better than even Gore did at his age. Peterson on film was super impressive. He would be a 1,000-yard receiver in any offense that gave him, a 1,000-yard rusher on any offense that gave him the opportunity to run the ball and be the guy.
That's because he hasn't done that.
I was blown away, man.
All right.
The thing is, though, he had a backfield of DeAndre Swift and Kerryon Johnson, so he didn't get a chance to be the bell cow. But there were games where he exploded, and then they'd be like, yeah, that's great and all, but Kerryon Johnson, or
because they're trying to get the younger
I get
guy
that.
I'm not their guy. Yeah.
I'm not throwing shade at that, but Adrian Peterson has still got so much left in the tank. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
I honestly, I'm just saying he'd be the best running back on their team right now. I think he's better than James Conner, and I like Conner, but I was super impressed. Well,
we're not going to have Conner. I want the Steelers to draft the guy, Javonte Williams specifically. Have you watched him yet?
I have not.
Dude, watch Javonte Williams.
It's hard because, with the running, like the fact the Rams picked all those running backs, I'm like.
So you just don't care?
It's not that I don't care. I scout every position, but they're my least priority.
That's
aside
fair.
from, I would say, interior defensive line, I don't feel like it's a need for the Rams.
Yeah. But he is, he makes something out of nothing more than any other running back in this draft.
By the way, there's more guys that are free agents. Romeo Okwara was a monster on film.
Okay.
Young, 26-year-old edge defender, right around the $10 million market value. I think he'd be an option. Everson Griffin, that'd be something. He's a free agent. Jalen Reeves-Maben, I liked him. Free agent. Jared Davis, a guy that you liked a lot in the draft. He's a free agent. He's not been good, but I think he got a little bit better last year. There's something they did, like he changed his role or something. I forget what it was. Reggie Ragland is a free agent. Duron Harmon, Tony McRae, Darryl Roberts, Miles Killebrew.
So the Lions are in rebuild, my guy. Wow.
Yeah.
Now that we're looking at this list,
I mean, that's a lot of red names.
Jared Goff is screwed.
I think they're going to do it the right way. I mean, what I will say is we're not giving enough credit to what's up front. They still have Trey Flowers, who they like a lot. They have Danny Shelton. I think Shelton is pretty solid. I forgot they got Julian Okwara. So they had Romeo and Julian Okwara, both brothers. Austin Bryant, 4th-round pick in 2019. They had John Pennicini, a guy that started for them last year. They have Deshaun Hand. I liked him a lot in the draft. Christian Jones, they got from Chicago. Jelani Tavai, I loved, coming out of Hawaii, 2nd-round pick in 2019. Jamie Collins, very good player still. Amani Oruwariye from Penn State, really liked him, 5th-round pick in 2019.
Oh, that was that corner.
Yeah. You and I both liked him. He met a lot with the Steelers. Desmond Trufant, I mean, he's a big name guy, came from Atlanta.
So they got some pieces.
Yeah, Tracy Walker, Will Harris, Jeff Okuda, Justin Coleman. So, I mean, their defense actually, even though they were the last place defense in the league last year, I think they have pieces where they just obviously need to keep building on to that. Yeah. Their offense, he's only throwing to Quintez Cephas if the season starts, man.
And like, yeah. Okay, so Jameis Winston, I thought we already knew this, was expected to start.
Now it's apparently confirmed, so to speak. I mean,
my opinions don't really change there. Prove it year for him, see what he does, go from there.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't want him to do like
too good,
too well.
Not the Rams out.
Yeah, but I mean, I think I'd like to see him really prove that. All right, well. Hold on a sec. Is this the same Sean Payton that they signed Taysom Hill that huge deal, and everyone was like, he's going to be the quarterback? And he got like $10 million per year or whatever. Like, he got a lot of money. So, what is happening?
I don't know, dude.
He's going to be a $10 million a year gadget guy. Did you just pay Tavon Austin?
They just like him. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So that's that. Good stuff there.
Yeah.
Quick thoughts on NFL honors. I'm not even going to go like name by name, but I'll just say Donald, obviously deserving of the award every year. You can make an argument. Herbert, I like a lot.
Yeah.
And then Stefanski, cool. I think he deserved it.
You nailed it right there. I almost had everything right, except we didn't do assistant coach of the year.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a category. So
imagine not giving it to Staley, who had the #1 defense in the league.
I didn't even know it was a category, so I don't even know of the names that.
They gave it to Brian Dable, who was the offensive coordinator for the Bills. I get it, but I also just kind of felt like Staley deserved it. But I could be a little biased there. But I mean, they were the #1 defense. But Stefanski, good call by you. I have Flores. I don't know if Flores got a vote. I don't know if you saw the voting.
Know.
I know Watt got a few votes versus Donald. He got a bunch actually. It was
Rodgers,
Watt, Donald,
MVP.
Did you see?
What?
Okay, so I was doing a live stream on Saturday after you left.
Okay.
And one of the guys in my live stream mentioned that Xavier Howard won Defensive Player of the Year. I was literally about to call you up on the air and be like, Xavier Howard just won.
That would be hilarious.
We were literally we were talking about
we said if it wasn't Watt
there'd be
or Donald,
uprising.
Yeah, that would be
but
a problem.
he won the Pepsi Defensive Player of the Year,
yeah.
which is like the fan vote. I'm like,
the Pepsi.
I like, yay! That's there we go. Pepsi sponsor us. We're not hating on you. It's just
it's funny.
But yeah, and then
none of it was shocking though. None of these.
No. I had them all right except for Stefanski.
Yeah.
And then comeback player of the year, Alex Smith. I mean, I don't know if you saw that video, but
yeah, I mean, he got people were really upset that Ben got even one vote, which I don't know. I feel like, and it could be me being biased, but I think I guess comeback player of the year to me is like they came back, yes, from a crazy injury, but then also like they played really well. So I consider both, but I guess it's more, and if you just say it's like what they came back from is the barometer for it, then absolutely Alex Smith's story just bludgeons Ben's to
like
it's irrelevant.
Well, I think Ben just
but that's the only reason
he got kind of like, you know, it was the wrong season.
Leave it to Ben. Ben Roethlisberger has like the worst luck with the timing of like his
comeback player
candidate award ever.
Yeah.
Like over the years, just MVP.
Well, yeah, he's had like amazing season, but that was the year Tom Brady threw 50 like, touchdowns.
Crazy, yes.
Yeah,
but I get it, like 100% get it. I know I made the case for Ben because again, like I just said, to me it also means how did you play when you came back. But I feel like to me now it's clear that it just more means like what you came back from.
I just cannot believe Alex Smith came back from that.
Yeah, so that's where if that's what you say it is, then that's what it is, and it looks like that.
But I think Ben deserves credit because I personally think you look at the Steelers' offense last year; it's night and day with Ben on the offense this year.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I felt at one point they were the best team in football.
At one point they were,
and they
were.
I think I'll say this straight up: the Buccaneers, they got lucky with the week 13 bye. I think that really helped them.
Sure.
And I think the Steelers got absolutely screwed by the COVID protocol. They didn't have anybody, come down with it. And just because the Titans really screwed their season, in my opinion, because the Titans forced them to take a bye. It was a week 3, week 4.
It was week 4.
And I mean, they had to take a bye week 4. They came into the season thinking it was going to be around like week 9.
It was supposed to be mid. I think, like week 9.
Yeah. And that's when you really want it.
That's when it would be great.
So I think that they just got really tired down the stretch.
They definitely did.
Plus,
they were exhausted.
They started getting injuries left and right, man. I mean, just forget about like Bush and
Bud.
Bud. I mean, they were losing like guys like Spillane who were coming in for Bush. And like that's the thing is like when you start to have those injuries, then it doesn't matter how good of depth you have. You're not going to win.
You're just getting eaten up. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But, all right, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Good for the awards. I thought they were fair. They all made sense to me.
The Hall of Fame, it's funny. I predicted better than I did. Okay, so what I wanted or what I would have voted for would have done better than what I predicted.
Oh, okay.
So I had Faneca make. I wanted Faneca to make it. I didn't think. I thought they'd give it to Baselli. Faneca made it. Absolutely deserving. Peyton, obviously. Charles Woodson.
Calvin Johnson.
Would you say Calvin Johnson was like no doubt first ballot Hall of Famer? Because I did, and there was a lot of pushback.
I think so.
On Twitter about that.
I think so, just because of how dominant he was for that stretch.
I don't.
You don't get a nickname like Megatron for.
Thank you, because like, what argument are you? I mean, he's not a Steeler or a Ram, but like, you're just gonna call it like it is. It's not. It's not a biased thing. Like, I enjoyed watching Calvin Johnson, but he wasn't like my favorite player of all time.
He was a monster.
Like, he is just different, and I feel like this idea where it's like, well, longevity, and I'm like, okay, so when Calvin Johnson retired, could you say he was guaranteed a top 5 receiver all the time? If you think yes, then he's a Hall of Famer first ballot. Mm-hmm. If you think no, then he should wait. I thought yes.
Okay.
I thought Calvin Johnson, keep in mind, people forget this, Calvin Johnson retired on top of his career. He didn't really have a dip. Like, he still had over 1,000 yards, had 10 touchdowns or what have you, and he retired at age 30. So I just find it real rich how the same people will say, no doubt they'll shut you down if you say Walter Payton or Marshall Faulk or any of those running backs are the best of all time if it's not Barry Sanders. But the same people that are saying it's clearly Barry Sanders are saying that Megatron shouldn't be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Right.
It's the same situation. They both retired on top of their game.
Yeah. No, I agree. And then Drew Pearson.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Do you remember Drew Pearson in the I think it was the draft with Chidobe Awuzie? Was that 2017? Colorado corner?
God. Yeah, I think so.
So in the second round, they had all the legends announce their picks. And they brought Drew Pearson for the Cowboys. And it's this funny thing. You might remember it. When the Eagles, in Philly, they hosted the draft. And all the Eagles fans were booing. They wouldn't let him talk. And he was just being a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's just like, I want to thank all the Eagles fans for allowing me to have a career in the NFL. Like, it was cool. And then they started booing like louder. So then he got loud and he's like, with the 62nd pick in the second round, on behalf of the Dallas Cowboys organization, Jerry Jones and the head coach Jason Garrett.
Just rubbing it in.
He's just like digging in on them. And like at that point, I'm not a Cowboys fan. I'm not an Eagles fan. but I just love Drew Pearson.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was deserving. But I think now it's time. If Drew Pearson gets in, and we've already decided that longevity doesn't matter, 2 guys need to get in next. Henry Ellard with the Rams, he retired as like a top 5 leader in receiving yards. He's gone down since because of the passing era, but he retired as one of the best. He's not in. He should be in. And another guy that needs to be in is Sterling Sharp. If you're telling me that longevity doesn't matter, Sterling Sharp was awesome. He absolutely 100% should be in at some point. Okay. Hope he gets his opportunity. Then you have Faneca, who, like I said, there's no debating. Bill Nunn, I don't really know anything about. I know that might shock you, but I don't know every single guy.
Big contributor to the kind of culture of the NFL, basically.
Oh, yeah. And then Tom Flores made sense. And then John Lynch.
It's just kind of like,
was like, I felt like Torrey Holt should have gotten in over John Lynch. I think Reggie Wayne should have gotten in over John Lynch. I felt like Richard Seymour. I felt like Leroy Butler.
So basically almost everyone.
There were look, I'll say this. It pays, and he was a great player. I don't know if he is necessarily a Hall of Famer. I think he was like right on the cusp. I know. But John Lynch to me is a guy. I've met him.
You like him? Is he nice?
He's a very nice guy. Cool. And I think it kind of goes to show you it pays to be a good human. And he's just very, very well respected among the league. Talk about what he did with Fox as a broadcaster. I think that helped him. And I think what he's done as a GM with the 49ers helped him. They'll never say that, right? They'll always leave it up to the player and what the player did or the coach did. But I feel like the extracurriculars push the voting in a certain way because you never see those votes. You never see how those votes become. And you never know what someone's thinking. Yeah. If someone's sitting there, they have the poll, they're like, I'm going to pick Lynch because I have a tiebreaker here.
And he was nice to me that one time.
There you go. And I just felt like, to me, Zach Thomas is another guy. You remember him?
Matter, yeah.
Zach Thomas, the linebacker for the Dolphins, 100% should be in the Hall of Fame.
All right.
So next year's going to be pretty crazy because there are guys like Steve Smith, Andre Johnson.
Opening, for new players to get in.
So we'll see. Yeah. But I thought the Hall of Fame class was really good. I thought John Lynch got in over guys that should have. It's really a big bummer not to see Torrey Holt. I mean, I just think to me.
Was this his last year of eligibility, though?
No. Yeah. I think I'm tired of receivers waiting, though.
Yeah.
We make such a big deal about receivers today. And it's like at the same time, it's like receivers get abused in the Hall of Fame.
I think it's just hard. There's so many good ones, especially now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe in, and we talked about this last week, but I don't believe in well, you need to have like a well-rounded Hall of Fame class. So you can't add 2 receivers in all. I'm like, put them in if they deserve it.
If they deserve it, I know.
But anyway, it's better than the Baseball Hall of Fame because they had 0 guys in the Hall of Fame.
Weird.
That's stupid.
All right. And our last topic is the NFL draft. Anyone popping out or sticking out to you that's like super special you're excited about?
I love them.
Oh, God, who?
Jordan Smith.
Okay.
So Jordan Smith, you're like, I know what that means. Yeah. Jordan Smith is an edge defender from UAB. I believe he was at Florida. I could be mistaken, either Miami or Florida. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. But he was at Florida. He got hit with credit card fraud or what have you. Hold on, man. Don't run him off so fast. So he goes to community college, kind of builds himself up a little bit. He's fun. He's a fun pass rusher. Explosive.
What is he, power, speed? What is he?
He's got a little bit of everything. Okay. So he's got some good power. He's long. He's got, he's 6'6", around 250. Kind of the same mold as, what the Rams got last year with Terrell Lewis. But I don't worry about the injuries as much, and this is somebody that I think has a chance to be a star in this league. And no one's people aren't talking about him the way I'm talking about. AJ Schulte, a friend of mine, he's a big fan of him, so I got to give a shout out to him. But all in all, man, this is a guy that you're going to want to keep his name in your mind because I think he's going to make something happen. You look at.
Where do you think he goes? What's his
I think second
grade?
To third round.
Oh, that high?
I mean, honestly,
So he's not much of a sleeper, really.
He's a sleeper in a sense that he doesn't get talked about on the top. But okay. I think when it's all said and done, he could be one of the best pass rushers in this draft.
Okay.
So,
cool.
What do you think about him? Do you know anything about him?
No, I don't.
PFF ranked him, I think, number 2 in pressure rate in the entire country. And it was top 3 in win rate, I want to say, out of all the FBS. So, I think, he's somebody that I really like. I like Josh Myers from Ohio State, the center. I will say this. I'm making the declaration right now, okay? I'm done. I've finished it. I'm done. I'm no longer in on red flags. And I'm more in on...
What do you mean I'm not in on... What does that mean?
So if a player has a red flag for behavioral issues...
Oh, the guy's a beefcake, dude.
Yeah, I know. He's a
pulled
monster.
up an image of him. Jeez.
Yeah, he's look at that one picture where he's just...
what round is he going? Steelers might need to look at him.
Second round. Hey, here's my thing, though. Creed Humphrey, and then you have, what's his face? Landon Dickerson. This is... Okay, so I'm going to say this right now. I wouldn't draft Landon Dickerson. He's had 2 ACL tears, and he's had 2 season-ending ankle injuries.
Yeah,
I'm done. I'm
scary.
Absolutely done, Adam. You can quote me on this. I said it on my live stream. I will draft a player that has off-the-field issues before I will draft a medical red flag ever again. I will never draft another medical red flag. The way, to that, if they've had an injury.
Very extreme. 2 ACLs and 2 busted up ankles.
But to me,
at a position where you need to be flexible in those areas.
But if you tear your ACL, I'm not red flagging you. If you tear it twice, you're red flagged. If you have shoulder issues throughout your career, you're red flagged. That's my thing.
No, the consistent injuries are a problem.
That's a red flag to me. I think we need to stop with the whole he had an ACL tear and more about he had an ACL tear, he tore his elbow. At some point or another, that guy's not. It doesn't get better. We're seeing it with Terrell Lewis with LA. He barely played this year. He can produce, but he's never healthy.
I agree.
So I'm done with it. I will draft a guy with off-the-field issues all day before I draft a guy with absolute medical red flags. And the thing that sucks is Landon Dickerson, man, he's a good player. He's a good player. But honestly, he might have a higher ceiling than Josh Myers. I think Josh Myers is exactly what you need in the NFL, though.
He just looks
Do you need a
beast,
sexy
man.
center? Do you need a guy that's going to be a big name? No, you don't. You just need a guy that's going to play for 10 years and is consistent.
Just consistently snap the ball to where I need it and block for me. That's all.
Madden, guarantee you he's probably an 84 overall his entire career, and I will sign up for that in 2 seconds.
Perfect number for a center.
I will literally sign up for that in 2 seconds if I get that for 10 years. So
yeah,
that's a guy that I like. And then I'd probably say another guy. I mentioned him earlier, Amir Smith-Marset, Iowa. Runs like a gazelle. He's kind of built like Josh Reynolds, but he actually uses his body to box out defenders.
Gotcha.
High points the football, but he's really fast. And the thing I love about Iowa guys is they can block. That you don't go to Iowa. When I talked to George Kittle, he made it very clear. Anybody that goes to Iowa to pass catch, you don't pass catch if you can't block. You don't play. You don't go on the field. And so I'm a big fan of being an all-around wide receiver. And I think Marset has that. He's got a, I think it's a DWI, so that's something to keep in mind. But that's the only off the field thing that I saw. Those are some guys I like.
All right.
And I'll keep you posted on more guys that come up, but just those guys I'll mention. And I like Robert Rochelle from Central Arkansas, a guy that I thought, just looking at, I wasn't at the Senior Bowl, but I saw the Senior Bowl, the highlights of, or rather the practice film. And I think Rochelle could be a steal.
Okay.
Tremont Smith, a guy that's in the league right now, he came from there. So, but do you have any guys that, come to your mind?
Well, my guy, I just have one guy because I'm very slow with scouting, and I don't like to talk about people that I haven't really watched.
No, I feel that.
But I just love Javonte Williams, man.
I know you do.
I think he could be the best running back out of this class when it's all said and done
really?
in the NFL. Dude, he's so good. He has the top-end speed. He has incredible contact balance. He trucks people. He'll juke people. And something that I love that I look for is the ability to create when, there's nothing there. And he just does that. He'll run to the line.
So I like him.
And there can be trash galore, and he'll just sidestep 3 guys, jump cut, and go. And he creates out of nothing. He's awesome, and he can catch out of the backfield. He's big enough, too. He's 220, 5'11", so he can be your workhorse back. He's awesome. I love him. I think people are sleeping on him way too much.
Yeah, I think right now, and I haven't really done an extensive research on the running backs as we talked about, but I'd say right now I really think Najee Harris would be my number one running back. Early on, there are guys I like. Kenneth Gainwell out of Memphis. You can trust Memphis's running backs. Look at Antonio Gibson, Darrell Henderson, Tony Pollard. I mean, they're doing something there with Anthony Jones Jr. as their running back coach. There's some guys in this draft that I look at, like Kylan Hill out of Mississippi State. Michael Carter from that same program. What are your thoughts on him?
I haven't watched him yet.
Okay, because I actually did watch Michael Carter.
But people like him a lot too.
I like Michael Carter.
What is he? Is he like a speed guy? He's small.
Right? It's interesting because he's small, but he's not. Like, he's 5'8", but he's at least 200 pounds, so he has some muscle to him. Javonte Williams though is 5'10", 220.
Right.
So he's more like filled out. Like he'll lay the wood on you. And then, of course, Najee Harris, 6'2", 230 pounds. I mean, dude's a monster. He honestly, I don't think he'll run anywhere near as well as Todd Gurley did, but he reminds me of Gurley.
Okay.
The way he hurdles guys, runs guys over. I mean, he's the whole package.
Dude, Javonte Williams, though.
I think that there's it's going to be interesting. I mean, the one guy from
stable of running backs, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, this is a good class. I'm excited to see how it kind of breaks down.
I'm interested to see, like, how many starters we get out of this crop.
I think you could get a good amount,
like
man.
bell cow.
I think you could get a good amount.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean,
a good amount as in like 4 to 5.
Buffalo's running back Jarrett Patterson is intriguing. I feel like he's not getting enough push.
He's kind of a plotter, right?
Yeah, I mean, him.
So he doesn't excite me because the Steelers have done that for years, and I'm just ready for
Kylan Hill.
That dynamic guy.
Here's one thing I'll say. I watched Khalil Herbert a lot at Kansas, and I thought he really made some strides. And then Puka Williams came into it, and Puka overshadowed him.
Puka's really low on the boards, though.
I know. It's really weird.
I think it's his size and his
I don't
character.
even think it's his size, man, because he's the next Darren Sproles if he gets an opportunity. And Darren Sproles,
though, was like 190, wasn't he? He was heavier.
He might have been, but I mean, he can be that guy. My point is, I think it's all about the character issues. I think there's genuine concern because we don't know for sure what happened with the,
He could
the
be
whole
an absolute criminal, a straight criminal.
We don't know about the alleged woman beating.
That's what I'm saying. I mean? He could be that.
That's still uneasy for me. As a Kansas fan, I want to know more about that. Yeah. And I don't feel like we ever really will learn. But
teams will know. I bet you teams know.
Teams probably know, and keep in mind, it's only on boards that we see on the Draft Network and
right.
Places like that.
We'll see. If he goes undrafted, it's probably a sign that it happened. Because NFL teams are like private detectives, man. They'll find all that stuff out.
Well, like Herbert with Virginia Tech. What would you think about him with the Steelers? I thought he really made a lot of strides this year. Had a good Senior Bowl. Very balanced attack as a runner. Great pad level. He reminds me of like a better version of Malcolm Brown. Can stay in the league for 10 years, I'd say.
I just really like Javonte, and I think he's perfect to get in the second round.
Are you sold on Javonte? Like no matter what? Like what
do you mean no matter what?
Like, do you like him more than Najee Harris?
For the Steelers, yes, because I think Najee Harris. I just feel like he's more like. He's not as create out of nothing, I don't think.
Okay. I haven't watched Javonte, so I can't.
When you watch him, bro, you will see what I'm talking about.
You're really about to make me move running backs to the top of the list.
I'm just saying, bro, he's really fun. He's great.
I'm just excited as we continue to move on with this show. Like, we're talking a lot about the NFL news. We're not talking a ton about the draft, but it's gonna ramp up, and it's going to happen quickly. Like, our next show could, depending on how the trades go and everything, we're not covering a Super Bowl anymore. We're not covering any sort of games. So you erase that from our docket, and now
it's gonna be a lot of draft.
It's going to be a lot of draft
and fun, just random stuff that comes up.
And our live draft show that we'll be doing.
Yeah,
I'm super stoked with that. Yeah, like we're gonna make that. That's gonna be dope.
Yeah, have we talked about that? That we're basically planning to do like a full, just nonstop live stream of the NFL draft, like every single pick, every round, and just hang out with us. Yeah, and we're gonna have other people here, right?
It's crazy.
People calling in.
We're literally gonna have people calling in. Yeah. We're gonna have Alexis Kraft. She's expected to be flying in from St. Louis, and we're gonna be doing a joint show. It's gonna be AJ's show, Adam Steele, Jake Ellenbogen,
Yeah, it's gonna be
and
wild.
Downtown Rams.
It's gonna be wild.
And I don't think we've ever done any. We have never done anything like that. I've done live draft shows before for Downtown Rams or Downtown Sports Network, but to combine 4 different platforms, it's gonna be fun, man. Because we're gonna have it going on all of our. So we'll have this being streamed on this channel. We'll have it being streamed on Jake Ellenbogen, Adam Steele, and we'll have it being streamed on Downtown Rams. And it's going to be everywhere, and we're going to have a blast doing it. It's going to be all 3 days. We're going to have people calling in. We're going to have rapid reactions on picks. We have our TV behind the camera, which you can't see, but we're going to be watching all this stuff while watching you guys, so we're not going to be looking away. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll have our boards and everything. Yeah, maybe you'll have one of these things right here, the monitor. Have just our big board here. Get a ticker going, dude. I'm stoked. It's gonna be so much fun.
But all right, that's that. Happy to fill them in on that though. But anything else before we sign off for the day? Do you have any other items?
I mean, I was trying to basically, I was trying to keep the time going so I'd be right about that prediction about next week.
What?
Carson Wentz going to the Colts, but it looks like it's not going to happen, unfortunately, which is a bummer.
Yeah.
It'll happen when we get off, though, I guarantee. But no, that's going to do it. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Be sure to follow Adam at Renegade Adam on Twitter.
Yep.
Be sure to follow me at JkBogen DTSN, and be sure to follow the show at the AJ Show Live.
Please, yes.
And anywhere you get videos or anything like that, we're on YouTube. We're on Twitch. If you're on Twitch, I don't think we've even put the Twitch out to people, but we have a Twitch.
So, there's so much. We're still juggling, and as you've seen,
it's a lot.
Still learning.
So
this is only episode 6. It's going to keep getting better. I promise.
We're excited for the quality increase. We appreciate you guys tuning in. You guys take care, and we'll be back next Saturday. And we'll be back hopefully noon, but we might have to just switch this thing to 12:30 to 2:30. To be honest with you, so we'll keep you posted on that if we end up going to 12:30. But appreciate you guys. You take care. Enjoy the rest.